spring, because a lot of these things that start like 8 in the morning, they don't get those.
Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
Good evening. I call this, welcome to the Prior Lake Savage Area Schools Board of Education meeting for April 13th, 2026. I call this meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance as you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All board members are present this evening. First up is Laker Pride. I will invite Activities Director Jeff Marshall to present and honor our winter athletics participants and coaches. Thank you, Director Marshall.
Just trying to get my slides up.
Escape twice.
Escape twice.
Down below.
There we go. My wife has tried to escape twice, and that hasn't worked for her. Sorry,
That was a good
that's
one.
probably being recorded. Sure is. Yeah. Good evening, Superintendent, Dr. Thomas, Board Chair Bullion, and School Board Directors. It is my honor and privilege to present to you the 2025 to 26 Winter Activities and Athletics Report, as well as to recognize and honor those students who have qualified for state or achieved tremendous success in their given activities from this past winter season. Please feel free to review the beginning slides of the presentation on your own. I'm not going to be going through all of them here tonight. These highlight the definition of these highlight the department's purpose statement, the definition of success, and the participation numbers from this past winter, as well as some wonderful pictures of our students involved in those athletics and activities. With that, we will actually now get started to highlight some of our specific sports and activities. We will start with our activities in our non-MSHSL sports. So first we'll have our Olympic weightlifting team come in. Come on in, ladies. You can stand right up here in front. This year we had 4 athletes who participated in the Olympic weightlifting state tournament. Lillian No, who is here, finished as runner-up in her category, and her sister Violet, who is a 5th grader, finished 3rd in her category. We also had John Maines qualify, who finished 3rd in his weight category, and Mackenzie Richardson, who finished 3rd in her category, and she was also named Academic All-State. They are coached by Scott Felstead. Congratulations to our Olympic weightlifters. Next up, we'll have our DECA students come on in. This year, DECA had 25 students who qualified for state. And I know not all 25 are there, but come on in and you guys can stand up here in the front. Madeline Banas qualified in 2 events. Olivia Zerbel qualified in 2 events. Aiden Joynasang qualified. Ashwin Mandal. Nora Stanton in 2 events. Addison Vero in 2 events. Supriya Upadhyay. Aurora Endress. Unaiza Suleiman. Jonathan Chea in 2 events, Aaron Hode in 2 events, Zoe Reimers, Sophia Zerbel, Max DeBoer in 2 events, Cameron Stout in 2 events, Miles Berger in 2 events, Nick Raffett in 2 events, Kevin Justin, Tanner Long, Grayson Peterson, Josh Daramola in 2 events, Andrew Sheffert, Advay Chawan in 2 events, Andrew Turner in 2 events, and Mason Shannon. This year, our DECA program was advised by Gemma Kilmer. And again, of the 25 students, we actually also had 2 who qualified to move on to the internationals, which will be happening later on this year. So congratulations to our DECA students. Next up, we'll have members of our mock trial team. Typically with mock trial, we have 3 different teams who are out there. This year, the white team qualified for the state tournament after advancing through regionals. Many of these students who qualified on the white team are actually sophomores, juniors, and even a freshman who made it through too. So the future is very bright for our mock trial team. Team members this year included Maddie Belmont, Nathaniel Chu, Marikai Fortin, Mallory Heskey, Ifra Malik, Ella Ostheimer, Natalie Tilkes, Rachel Vegdahl, Katerina von Schmidt-Pauli, and Tessa Westland. Coaches were Takuma Padilla, Matt Baer, Mark Baer, the honorary Stacy Sorensen Green, and Fatima Ayur. So congratulations to our mock trial members.
Congratulations.
Not with us tonight is our one-act play. Our one-act play this year qualified for the section finals after making it out of the sub-regionals. At the section finals, they finished in second place with the top team moving on to state. A little bit of controversy that happened there, but we were pretty proud of them and happy with how well they did. So, I am not. He's sitting over there. Coming in next, this is our unified basketball team. Okay, this was the first year that we fielded a unified basketball team. These guys are all members of the unified club and the unified program within our district. The team played first in qualifying rounds at Shakopee, and while at Shakopee, they won both games, thus qualifying for the state tournament that was held at Target Center. At the Target Center in the state tournament, the team finished in fourth place. Very exciting. I was able to be down there to watch the games. We had a great turnout during the day, and very, very excited to be able to see how well the team did. Team members included as players, Lukman Abdullahi, Ayub Hussein, Isaiah Mendez, Cici Brudevold, Gwen Satoriak, Bin Pham, Ben Butner, Aaliyah Preby, Landon Mork, and Logan Raleigh. And the coaches were Cam Stout, Clyde Smith, Landon Perutka, Wozer Genpa, and Cade Swanson. Managers were Lucy Satterland and Claire Drain. And the advisors that we have with us here tonight are Hannah Ring and Megan Head. So congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations.
Next up, we're moving into our band and choir students. This year, we had 10 students who were selected as MMEA All-State in band. Those students included Griffin Beamer, Eleanor Busans, Talia Bushman, Samantha Chai, Andrew Coleman, Madeline Duke, Audrey Ferraru, Bryson Schumacher, Noah Wagner, and Anna Wang. In addition, we had 8 students who were selected in the 9th and 10th grade All-State band. Those included Jace Jungers, Claire Shellhorn, Ian Cunningham, Smith Grosjean, Miles McCabe, Harriet Presley, and Graham Trudinick, and Jackson Vigiletti. We also had 2 students who were selected to the 9th and 10th grade All-State Jazz Band, Jace Jungers and Claire Shellhorn. And our directors are Keith Kulmos and Justin Schramm. Aubrey Ferraro, right? And Aubrey is here with us tonight. Aubrey, if you want to stand out here and face the audience, that'd be great. It's great that she was able to make it. I know that our directors had also told a lot of our students that their names would at least be read tonight, and so they're home listening probably is my guess, but we appreciate Aubrey you being here. Because in addition to our all-state band members, our wind ensemble this year was also selected as a performing ensemble for the 2026 Minnesota Music Educators Association Midwinter Convention. And unfortunately, they weren't able to perform down at the convention center, but they did move the convention to various locations, including Prior Lake High School, where we served as one as well, too. Here we go, a few more here, which is great. Sorry you guys didn't hear it out there. So, members of our wind ensemble this year who were selected to perform at the Midwinter Convention include Harriet Presley, Talia Bushman, Claire Shellhorn, Millie Rupert, Barrett Schultz, Olivia Cunningham, Madeline Duke, Kylie Oslison, Austin Cleghorn, Ellen Zadankin, Samantha Chai, Anna Wang, Audrey Ferraru, Rishi Hari, Graham Trudinick, Alex Hutner-Straught, Claire Downer, Lou Gabriel, Kaylin Suppley, Annabella Dang, Ira Deshpande, Sawyer Pauna, Vivian Mai, Annalise Dang, Clara Tuddy, Jackson Wheelock, Elizabeth McCroskey, Jack Vigiletti, Nathan Moroso, Addie Turway, Carson Cryer, Jordan Fear, Anders Cambrone, Ava Wirtz, Luella Stangler, Smith Grosjean, Eleanor Busans, Drew Fallingstead, Ella Ostheimer, Braden Suppley, Griffin Beamer, Bryson Schumacher, Jace Jungers, Lindsay Madsen, Ryan Mai, Avery Obelman, Sam Berg, Alex Jung, Alexander St. Hilaire, Andrew Duhini, Nora Wagner, Miles McCabe, Andrew Coleman, Cam Samella, Sam Britton, Jack Herendine, Josie McWilliams, Nolan Goss, Henry Tucker, and Ella Schmidt. Again, congratulations to our all-state band members and our wind ensemble.
Congratulations.
Next up, we have our all-state choral selection. This year, we had 6 students who were selected to the MMEA All-State Choir. I believe some of them are out there. As part of the SSAA Choir, we had Sophie Callis, Katie Weaver, Ingrid Olson, and Addie Turway. No, some of them are out there for that song. Choir? Sorry, track. Oh, yeah, you're good.
Right in front.
Okay. So again, 6 students who were selected to the MMEA All-State Choir. As part of the SSAA Choir, we had Sophie Callis, Katie Weaver, Ingrid Olson, who was here, and Addie Turway. As part of the TTBB Choir, we had Wyatt Gillis and Sawyer Olson, and Sawyer is here as well. We also had 3 alternates who were chosen to that: Chloe Erickson, Andrea Stordahl, and Grace Galbus. Unfortunately, the other 4 are currently at play practice because they're doing other things as well, too. And our directors are Randy Erlinson and Rob Hahn. Just a little bit of quick information. Just over 450 schools have junior and senior students who are eligible for All-State. 20%, give or take, of the makeup of the All-State actually comes from our conference, the South Suburban Conference, and we are either tied or at the top of our conference with the number of people that we have who earn All-State honors. And on a side note, I was willing to spend spring break in Ireland with these 2 individuals. Sawyer was part of my group as I oversaw the men, and certainly Ingrid was there as well too, along with both of our directors. And I know that there's been a lot of talk about choir directors and choir staffing and some of those things. And I was able to witness firsthand the impact that our directors have on this group and the impact that they have on each other. This is not one of your typical classroom settings. You know, this is a choir and band are one of those things that kind of cross that line between curricular and co-curricular, and what does that look like? And for these students to have that kind of opportunity to be able to go there and perform 3 different concerts, to be able to work with some amazing groups in Ireland, including a national choir while they were over there, and to be able to bond and spend that time with each other, have that experience, and have the leadership of both Rob and Randy guiding them through this process is invaluable. And it truly was an amazing experience to see the kind of family that the choir is and the work that they do to be able to come together. So congratulations to both of you. It was great spending time with you in Ireland as well. And certainly congratulations to Rob and Randy on an amazing program that they have put together. We'll now switch over to our Minnesota State High School League athletic teams from the winter season. Unfortunately, nobody was able to make it here from the Alpine ski team. The girls did finish as conference champions, which I believe is either the 3rd or the 4th year in a row of them doing that. They also finished as the Section 6 runners-up, and going from sections where they finished in 2nd to state, they actually beat the team that beat them at sections and finished 2nd at the state tournament that was held up in Giants Ridge. Team members include Elizabeth McCroskey, Coven Rice, Emily Reed, Emily Harris, Annika Johnson, and Olivia Reed. Additionally, we had 2 boys who qualified for state individually in alpine skiing this year, Andrew Turner and Soren Johnson, and our coaches are Dave Everson and Anya Heeden. So congratulations to our alpine ski team. In addition, our Nordic ski team finished in Section 1. Our girls were in 9th place, our boys were in 8th place, many of whom were freshmen or sophomores who were part of that team. Our boys basketball team finished with a 27-7 overall record, 16-2 in the South Suburban Conference. They finished as conference champions, which is the first time ever that our boys basketball team has finished as conference champions, which was truly incredible. Just an amazing season. Unfortunately, they lost in section finals to Chaska, who ended up being the eventual state champ, and we only lost by 3 points. And so we, throughout the whole playoff run, we were actually the team that was closest to Chaska throughout playoffs when they went on to become state champs. So very excited certainly for what the future holds. Our seniors were outstanding leaders this year, but we also have a strong core coming back as well for our boys basketball team. Our girls basketball, after losing a lot to graduation, came back and finished 13-15 overall, 9-7 in the South Suburban Conference. They ended up losing to Minnetonka in the section semifinals, who was the #1 seed at that time. The next team that we have here is our adapted floor hockey team. You all want to come on out, stand out here in front. So our adapted floor hockey team qualified for the state tournament for the first time in history. This is only the third year, right? Fourth year. The fourth year of this team being in existence. We are in a co-op with adapted floor hockey with Shakopee. When we play soccer in the fall and softball in the spring, Chaska and Chanhassen also join us as part of that co-op. But for floor hockey, it's strictly just us and Shakopee as part of that. And so in the fourth season of existence, to be able to qualify for the state tournament is truly remarkable. It's really an amazing feat that this team had. At the state tournament, they ended up finishing in 6th place. Team members this year include Caleb Schultz, Colin Schultz, Ben Madsen, Cece Brudevold, Ayub Hussein, John Conley, and Dylan Norman. And our coach is Julia Reese. Ben, you have something you'd like to say?
Just for the record, I made the all-tournament team. I was the individual to make the all-tournament team. I was doing so well in goalie at all.
Thanks, Ben. We also want to make sure we recognize the whole team, too, because the team did very, very well this year, and you had an outstanding year as well, too. So congratulations. Way to go, Southern Stars, on a great season. We're off and running with softball. We, as a district, actually host the adapted softball program. All of their games and practices are over at Twin Oaks, and so if you have an opportunity to come out and watch an adapted softball team this spring, we encourage you to do so. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job.
Next up is our boys swimming and diving team. This year, the boys team finished 8-1 in the South Suburban Conference, finishing as conference runners-up. They finished 7th at the state AA championships, and we have a couple of those individuals who are here with us tonight. The 200 medley relay finished in 5th place, made up of Braxton Helmers, Owen Baudette, Jamie Solt, and Mason Zobrak. In the 200 freestyle, Jamie Solt finished 3rd. In the 200 IM, Braxton Helmers finished 15th. In the 50 freestyle, Owen Baudette finished 4th. In the 100 freestyle, Jamie Solt finished 5th. In the 100 backstroke, Braxton Helmers finished 5th. In the 400 freestyle relay, they finished 12th. That was made up of Jamie Solt, Cameron Peterson, Braxton Helmers, and Owen Baudette. And in the 100 breaststroke, Owen, who is here tonight, finished in 1st place. He was a state champion in the 100 breaststroke, setting a school record, also achieving an automatic All-American time, which means that Owen automatically is one of the top 100 swimmers in that event in the entire nation. So quite an amazing feat as well, too, to be able to finish the state champ and to be able to do that. So congratulations, gentlemen, on an outstanding season. Also this year, our boys hockey program finished 9-15-2 overall with a 7-8-1 record in the conference. Our girls hockey team finished 14-12-1 overall, 9-6-1 in the South Suburban, where they beat Shakopee in the section quarterfinals before losing to Holy Family in the section semifinals, who also went on to state. Wrestling, our wrestling team finished 8-1 in the South Suburban Conference, which was good for 2nd place, losing during the season to Shakopee. In the section finals, we lost to Apple Valley by 1 point. And I have never seen such a heartbreak of a meet or of a match. We were up 31-10, and Apple Valley came back and ended up beating us 32-31. It was heartbreaking, but I will tell you, to me, the lessons learned of resiliency and overcoming obstacles and adversity that these boys experienced and learned as a result of this are going to make them not just better wrestlers, but better people. You know, that is such a challenge, and that's one of the greatest things about sports is you having that opportunity to learn those lessons when you have to overcome obstacles like that. Yes, it was devastating, but again, these boys are better people now because of having had that experience. And we know that those who are coming back are going to be hungry to be able to come back and to be able to perform next year as well, too. We also had 3 individual state qualifiers. I don't believe any of them are here with us tonight. But Rocco Mikolazic finished 5th at 121 pounds, Liam Collins finished 5th at 133 pounds, and Charlie Nelson qualified at 172 pounds. They were coached this year mainly by Solomon Nielsen, John Tolbert, and Alex Head, but for those of you who are familiar with the wrestling world, you know you got to have a lot of hands in that room with all the different weight classes. And so we've got a lot of volunteers and a lot of alumni and a lot of folks who come and help out with that wrestling program. So congrats to our wrestlers with how well they did. Our dance team this year finished 4th in both kick and jazz at Section 1-3A competition. We are hoping one of these years soon to be able to get this group here. Top 3 goes to state. And we've been 4th now for the last 2 years in both kick and jazz. So we know that we are right on the door being able to get in. The scoring gap has narrowed every year, so we're getting closer and closer with our dance program. Our cheer team, both the JV and varsity traditional and game day squads qualified for nationals. Once again, they both finished in the top 10 in the nation, which is truly an amazing feat for our JV and our varsity cheer squads. The last group of students we're going to bring out is our gymnastics team. Coming out with their medals as well. So our gymnasts this year had an outstanding regular season. And they knew going into sections that they had a really good shot at being able to win it. And they went into sections where only the top team then qualifies for state, and they were to overcome and beat New Prague, who was a perennial favorite coming out of Section 2AA, in an amazing meet. So as a team, they qualified for the state tournament, went on to state where they finished in 5th place at state. And the state the people who performed or who competed at state were Sophia Vold, Claire Drain, Annika Campbell, Maya Haig, Madeline Chappie, Gia Wilson, and Anna Gillespie. In addition, we had 4 individual state qualifiers this year. Madeline Chappie on the vault, uneven bars, and floor exercise. Maya Haig on the all-around vault, uneven bars, beam, and floor exercise, where she finished in 12th place. Annika Campbell on the vault and floor exercise. And Claire Drain on the all-around, the vault, the uneven bars, where she finished in 7th place, the beam, and the floor exercise. Our coaches this year were Patrick Kleckner, Adriana Nafla, Julie Siegel, and Amanda Montplaisir. And also excited to be able to say that Patrick also won the State Coach of the Year honors and awards this year for doing such an outstanding job with the program. So ladies, congratulations to all of you. Patrick, congratulations. Just a few other quick awards that I want you to be aware of. One is what's called the Excel Award. The Excel Award stands for Excellence in Community, Education, and Leadership. It's an award that's sponsored by the Minnesota State High School League, and it's a unique recognition program designed exclusively for Minnesota high school juniors who are active in school activities, who are leaders in their schools, and who demonstrate a strong commitment to community service. This award is sponsored by the League's corporate sponsor, True Stone Financial Credit Union, and this year's winners were Sarah Youssef and Dallas Handovit. In addition, we have the AAA Award. AAA stands for Athletics, Arts, and Academics. This honors high school seniors throughout the state who have a minimum of 3.0 or higher grade point average and who participate in league-sponsored athletic and fine arts activities. Our winners every year have well above a 4.0 GPA and are very involved, again, in the arts and in the athletics. The AAA Award recipients are selected through a multi-level process involving member schools of the League, the League's administrative regions, and a special committee of educators, business leaders, and members from the fine arts and athletic communities. This year's Prior Lake High School's nominees were Joe Gannon and Talia Bushman. Talia went on and actually became the region winner as well, and so she went on and competed at the state level against 8 other individuals for the state honors. She didn't win that, but again, to be recognized and nominated and to win that region level is truly an amazing honor. So congratulations to them as well. Lastly, we certainly continue to be thankful. Thankful to those who provide such strong support for our activities programs, thankful for the custodians, thankful for, again, all of the people that between the parents who are here, the parents who are watching at home, the fans who come out to our games. It truly is amazing and exciting to be able to run such programs. However, we also know that this is a very difficult evening for all of us, as you have to make some hard decisions in regards to budget and staffing for next year. And so we know that while we're able to come here and celebrate these students, which is very exciting, again, I know there's a lot of heavy things that are also weighing on our hearts right now. For the activities department alone to have to cut over $100,000, this will have a significant impact on our programs and our families. This includes cutting a number of stipend positions, thus reducing our coaching staff with a number of our programs. And I think it's very important to note that with the teaching staff cuts that have to be made, these have much deeper implications than just the classroom. The co-curricular opportunities for our choir students will be greatly impacted by not being able to offer as many opportunities outside of the school day. Additionally, 4 football coaches are being impacted, with 2 of them potentially losing their teaching positions. We potentially are losing our head boys track coach due to the teaching reductions, and potentially losing a softball coach and one of our new girls flag football coaches. And these are just due to the potential teaching staffing cuts. I realize that I'm the activities director for the district, but I'm also a district resident and a parent of 4 students who have or are attending schools in this district. It is my sincere hope that this board and this community can understand the budget crisis we are in, the deficit we face, the lack of community financial support compared to our neighboring and similar districts, and the skeleton staffing we will have with teachers, administrators, coaches, custodians, admin assistants, front office staff, and district staff. And it is our hope that the community and this board will come together to unite and make changes to this crisis. In the meantime, we as an activities department will continue to provide the best opportunities possible and the best experiences we can for all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Marshall, did you grab the certificates?
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Marshall. Next up is the superintendent report. Dr. Thomas.
Thank you, Chair Bullion and directors. This evening, just share a couple of updates with the community and the board. It's been a heavy legislative cycle going around right now. A few weeks ago, I joined a team with our Minnesota Association of School Administrators, as well as our Minnesota Association of Special Ed Directors, to go out to Washington, D.C. to advocate on behalf of keeping public funds in public schools, as well as a lot of advocacy around how we can meet the mandates of special education from the federal level. They have yet to demonstrate their commitment to funding at 40%, which was their commitment when they first passed IDEA, and to this day, we still have yet to see that level of funding. So a very busy week out in DC. Equally, it's been a very busy session already here in the Twin Cities in St. Paul. I will say, namely, one of the things just kind of in alignment with the Federal Advocacy Committee that I was a part of last week is that I'll be testifying to repeal the actions of the Blue Ribbon, Special Education Blue Ribbon Commission, which is charged to find $250 million in reductions. Technically, it's $300 million, but I don't know if the governor's proposal will continue moving forward. But we know that's the minimum that they're asking, and many of us are saying that is absolutely impossible to do. Just given the fact that we just got a reprieve with special ed cross-subsidy support from our state, only a year later to have it taken away. That's a challenge for many of us to then look at how we would continue that cross-subsidy And then there's a lot of other ancillary funding that they're talking about replacing. And then if we look at some of the ancillary funding, that would be more of the prevention side of our ADSIS funding that is going towards ways to fill that special ed mandate. So essentially, the state would be robbing Peter to pay Paul and finding ourselves in a situation where, you know, our tier 2 supports will likely dwindle to fund the mandates through special ed if they move forward with this proposal. So there are quite a few of us out there advocating against that. So it's going to be a busy session, even though there's no funding. There's going to be a lot of voice to make sure that we can try to get things repealed, revisited, and see where it goes on behalf of our students and our families in our districts. Just real quickly, that Prior Lake Savage Area Schools has again received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Association of School Business Officials International for the for this past fiscal year. It's a national recognition that reflects the district's commitment to accurate, thorough, and accessible financial reporting. And I just want to thank Director Ryder and the entire business services team, as well as Christy and folks who have really helped with the layout and everything. So it's been something that has really helped and been a useful tool here in our community. Also, I will just share that our kindergarten open house for the class of 2039 is May 11th at our elementary schools. This is a fun first up for our students to go into their school journey. Students can hop on a school bus, explore their new building, and start getting excited for the school year ahead. The open house schedule will be Five Hawks and Red Tail on May 11th again, 3:30 to 4:30. And on May 11th at Glendale, Hamilton Ridge, Jeffers Pond, La Ola, and Westwood from 4:30 to 5:30. And then lastly, just to recognize over spring break, several of our students were able to take some time to travel overseas. And we had some of our students in French classes go to Paris and had a cultural immersion experience living with host families for part of the trip and attended high school classes during their time out there. They toured iconic landmarks, Notre Dame Cathedral, the Seine River, and the Eiffel Tower, to name a few of those hot spots that they were able to take in. We had choir students go to Ireland and conducted several performances, including a special collaborative concert with a youth choir from Ireland, and they immersed themselves in the Irish culture, experiencing authentic music and dance traditions while traveling to Galway, Cork, and Dublin. And then lastly, our Spanish course students went to Spain, and students were immersed in the culture and the history of the beautiful country of Spain, and they visited the Picasso Museum, toured world-renowned historic landmarks, tasted authentic olive oil, and enjoyed flamenco, a flamenco performance. If you've not seen one of those, it's pretty hot stuff. So they had a great time, and want to wish them well as they finish out the year strong with that extracurricular experience that they had. And those are my updates.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Next up, we have several proclamations this evening, and for the sake of time, as well as considering the potential of severe weather, I'm going to propose foregoing the administrator's comments on the individual proclamations. And we'll start with Director Smith, if you would start with our first proclamation for National Volunteer Appreciation Week.
Been waiting 5 months for you to ask me. Prior Lake Savage Area Schools recognizes April 19th through 25th, 2026 as Volunteer Appreciation Week. Volunteers provide essential support to our over 8,600 Prior Lake Savage Area students and their families, and over 1,300 employees. This week, we celebrate our thanks and gratitude for these essential community members. Whereas, the week of April 19th through 25th is designated as National Volunteer Week to recognize the hard work, dedication, and passion of volunteers throughout our nation. Whereas, thousands of volunteers here in the Prior Lake Savage area provide essential support to our students through generous donations of time, money, and talent. Whereas volunteers serve on our boards, task forces, and committees to help us move our mission forward. Whereas volunteers are motivated by the simple satisfaction of helping our students and foster a sense of community and pride within our schools and district. Therefore, let it be resolved, the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to all Prior Lake Savage area volunteers for supporting the education of our students and declares April 19th through 25th, 2026 to be Volunteer Appreciation Week in Prior Lake Savage area schools.
Thank you. Next is After-School Professionals Appreciation Week. Director France, would you read that proclamation, please?
Yes, Prior Lake Savage Area Schools recognizes April 20th through the 24th, 2026 as After-School Professionals Appreciation Week. This week, we celebrate and thank these vital staff members. Whereas the Prior Lake Savage Area School community firmly believes that after-school professionals, those who work with children and youth in a wide variety of program settings to provide extended learning opportunities during out-of-school hours, have a positive effect on our children, families, community, and businesses. Whereas after-school professionals are a decisive element in young people's access to high-quality relationships and expanded opportunities beyond what they have access to at school and home, which they need to reach their full potential. Whereas after-school professionals deserve appreciation and support for all that they do that results in increased social emotional skills, school attendance, and academic performance for young people. Whereas Prior Lake Savage Area Schools is committed to supporting the professionals who provide expanded learning opportunities that will help close the achievement gap and prepare young people to be contributing citizens. Therefore, let it be resolved, the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to all Prior Lake Savage Area Schools after-school professionals for supporting the education of our students and declares April 20th through 24th, 2026 to be After-School Professionals Appreciation Week in Prior Lake Savage Area Schools.
Thank you. Next proclamation is Administrative Support Professionals Week. Director Olsted, would you be so kind?
Happy to. Prior Lake Savage Area Schools recognizes April 20 through 24th, 2026 as Administrative Support Professionals Appreciation Week. Our administrative support professionals are essential to keeping our district operating, which supports the success of our students. This week, we celebrate our thanks and gratitude for these vital staff members. Whereas National Administrative Professionals Day is being celebrated on April 22nd, 2026. Whereas our administrative support professionals serve several roles in our school buildings and district offices. Whereas these professionals are often the first point of contact for families, students, and staff and help create a welcoming environment. Whereas our administrative support professionals carry out essential functions to keep our schools and district operating so we can fulfill the mission of our district and the success of our students. Therefore, let it be resolved, the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to all Prior Lake Savage Area Schools administrative support professionals for supporting the education of our students and declares April 20 through 24th, 2026 to be Administrative Support Professionals Appreciation Week in Prior Lake Savage Area Schools.
Thank you. Next up, we have the School Bus Driver Appreciation Week. Director Mason, would you be so kind?
Prior Lake Savage Area Schools recognizes April 27th through May 1st, 2026 as School Bus Driver Appreciation Week and April 28th, 2026 as School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers ensure the safety and well-being of our students while transporting them to and from school. This week, we celebrate our thanks and gratitude for these essential members of our Prior Lake Savage Area community. Whereas over 120 Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers are employed through Barron's Bus Company and Student Transportation Company, whereas Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers safely transport more than 8,600 students. Whereas Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers travel more than 1 million miles total over the course of the school year. Whereas Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers deal with many challenging situations each day, including inclement weather and traffic. Whereas Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers are the first people to greet many of our students each morning and last to say goodbye each afternoon. Therefore, let it be resolved, the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to Prior Lake Savage Area school bus drivers for supporting the safety and sense of belonging of our students and declares April 27th to May 1st, 2026 to be School Bus Driver Appreciation Week in Prior Lake Savage Area schools.
Thank you. Next up, National Principals Appreciation Week. Director Johnson, would you be so kind to read that one?
Prior Lake Savage Area Schools recognizes April 27th through May 1st, 2026 as School Principals Appreciation Week. Our principals provide essential support to our more than 8,600 PLSAS students and more than 1,300 employees. This week, we celebrate our thanks and gratitude for these essential leaders. Whereas National School Principals Day is May 1st, 2026, whereas school principals are educational visionaries, instructional leaders, and to students and staff, community builders, public relations experts, budget analysts, facility managers, special program managers, and are entrusted with the education and development of young people. Whereas school principals provide students with opportunities and guidance to ensure their success and inspire a passion for learning. Whereas school principals provide direction, support, encouragement, and guidance to staff, enabling them to serve the wide-ranging needs to our student community. Whereas student principals work with all stakeholders to foster a sense of community and pride within our schools and district. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to our district principals for supporting the education of our students and proclaims April 28th through May 2nd, 2026 to be School Principals Appreciation Week in Prior Lake Savage Area Schools.
Thank you. Next up is the Child Nutrition Staff Appreciation Week. Director Atkinson?
Thank you. Prior Lake Savage Area Schools recognizes April 27th through May 1st, 2026 as Child Nutrition Staff Appreciation Week. Our child nutrition staff are committed to supporting our children by providing nutritious, scratch-cooked meals to more than 8,600 students. This week, we celebrate our thanks and gratitude for these essential individuals. Whereas the School Nutrition Association declares May 1st as School Lunch Hero Day to highlight the difference child nutrition staff make to every child who comes through the cafeteria. Whereas Prior Lake Savage Area Schools child nutrition staff serve approximately 1.2 million meals every year, averaging 6,000 meals each school day. That's pretty impressive. Whereas child nutrition staff are vital employees dedicated to preparing and distributing healthy and delicious meals directly to our students, all while providing a warm and welcoming environment. Therefore, let it be resolved, the Board of Education hereby extends its appreciation to all Prior Lake Savage Area Schools child nutrition staff for supporting the nutritional needs and success of our student and declares April 27th through May 1st to be Child Nutrition Staff Appreciation Week in Prior Lake Savage Area Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Thomas, would you be so kind?
Sure. I'll just say on behalf of the board and administration, we extend our sincere gratitude to each of these dedicated groups of employees. Together, they represent the heart of our schools. They support, guide, and nourish and safely care for our students each and every day. And we are deeply appreciative of their commitment and the positive impact they make across our entire school community. So thank you all.
Thank you. All right, next up is open forum. This time is set aside to receive citizen input. Speakers are asked to limit comments to 3 minutes. And please note that the board typically doesn't respond during open forum. And we will start with our first speaker, which is Joseph Bemer.
Are there other speakers, or am I the only one?
No, we have 2 speakers tonight.
I'll go last, respectfully.
Okay, then I would ask Don Lenio to come up and speak, please.
Good evening, school board members. I'm back again. My name is Dawn Lenio, and I'm the mother of 2 Prior Lake Elementary School students. Like many other families with young children in the area, we moved here in 2020 for this school district, and we are proud to be Lakers. Tonight, I'd like to share with you some gratitude for my 5th graders teacher and all the other new teachers, AKA probationary teachers, out there. Right from the beginning, my 5th grader has been unsure about this whole school thing. I genuinely think he was confused about hybrid learning as a 5-year-old, only going to school 2 days a week in kindergarten. For 5 years straight, he would tell anyone who asked about how school was, he would tell them it was boring or stupid. Until this year. This year, at Meet the Teacher assessment days, his new teacher told him, "I'm going to make you love school this year." And while I wouldn't call it love, his attitude has majorly shifted. He now genuinely shares that his day was good, so fun, and even great at times. And that's thanks to Mrs. Weir. Mrs. Weir is exactly the teacher that he needed in 5th grade. She has an enthusiastic, fun energy that is obvious in my students' stories. And having spent a week with her at Wolf Ridge this fall, it was easy to see why her students adore her. Our district is truly lucky to have had her step in to fill a last-minute opening last summer. She's a passionate and energetic educator, and we have cut her. She was the first teacher to get my 11-year-old to like going to school, and we have cut her. We have cut her and 4 other beloved teachers at my children's elementary school and 28 other probationary teachers. For those of you who are listening and don't know what a probationary teacher is, it's any teacher where their contract is not guaranteed, where they are, in this case, this year of budget cuts, all teachers in their 1st to 3rd year with our district. Another elementary level teacher who was recently cut shared that this is the 3rd time she's been cut by a school district in 10 years. Not because she isn't a fantastic teacher, but because the system dictates that the last hired is the first cut. It doesn't matter how good of a teacher you are. If you're new, you're fighting an uphill battle to keep your foothold in the district. And so I just wanted to acknowledge my gratitude for Mrs. Weir, a fantastic, dedicated 8th-year teacher, and teachers just like her that come out, that come into our district and make a massive positive impact just to be cut. They give it their all, and they get to know their new schools, their new teams, and invest in building that school community that is so important just to be cut. I see you, I appreciate you. I know that you're getting the short end of the stick, but I hope you keep grasping for the next one because you are a public school educator and you are doing great things.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Well, we'll see what I do here, but thanks for the opportunity. I'll apologize in advance to the school board, Dr. Thomas, everybody here, parents, children. I'm here to basically wipe the smug-ass smiles off your face. Because this is insane as to what we're doing. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, that's what it is. You guys have failed to do exactly what you have taken an oath to do. Stand up there with a smug-ass smile listening to children and parents. It's insane. To go up here, my child was listed up there twice. My 8th grader, another Spanish immersion, both kids are Spanish immersion. Mr. Kaczynski, they are juniors because of what this community got behind and started. They are juniors this year. They will graduate next year. My son will graduate with a state certified stamp seal of bilingual on his diploma, thanks to them. Not you guys, this community that got behind them to vote for it. And that's what you guys need to remember. And you sit up there in your chairs and you give a fake smile to do nothing but go about your other groups that are in this town and just backtalk everything, to throw out the misinformation, to quote, ask the hard questions and throw out, I'm doing clarity. It's stupid, because it's not. It's not fair to anybody when we have this. We have a triple A students that are up there. What's 2 out of the 3 A's? Academics and arts. What did you cut after we just gave the first part of this entire dedicated Form 2? Director Marshall, with all of those students. $100,000. These FTEs, what, they're letters? They're not letters. They're people. The Hans, neighbors to my wife's family, they grew up together from Shakopee. They're here. That's a person that is sitting out there. They're not an FTE. They're not a 1 FTE. They're not a 0.5 FTE. It's a person. It's an Amy. It's a Christian. It's a whoever you want to put it to. And you're just going to sit up there and just kind of nod your head because, well, we don't have money. I understand we don't have money. It's your job to fix it. The state and the federals have massively underfunded everything because of politics. And politics is here, and it's disgusting. This community needs to be a community again, and you need to be a part of it. And if I know several of you are up this November, and if you are not on board to be a part of bringing this community back together, get the hell out of our way, because we will do it.
Next up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So made.
By Director France. Is there a second?
Second.
Director Smith, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That passes 7-0. Next up is the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed as a consent agenda item and addressed. We will be discussing financials, purchases over $25,000. Oh, I'm sorry. We are not to be discussing. Items in the consent agenda are financials, purchases over $25,000, monthly financial report, approval of school board minutes, personnel items, and personnel items including candidates for employment, resignations, terminations, non-renewals, and district retirements. If there is no, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as is?
So made.
By Director Olsted and second by Director Mason. Thank you. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That passes 7-0. Next up is the resolution for acceptance of gifts. This evening, we have several gifts. I'll read those, and then we will take that by roll call. The first gift is for $2,000 from MVEC for a panel for Everybody's Playground. The next gift is a $15,000 gift from the Prior Lake Lions Club for Everybody's Playground. Then we have a $8,000 gift from the Prior Lake Rotary Club for Everybody's Playground. Next up is a $5,000 gift from the Prior Lake Savage Optimists for Everybody's Playground. Next is $5,105 from the Power of 100 for Everybody's Playground. And the next gift is $1,079.76 from Direct Relief to meet the legislative requirements around Narcan. So I am going to take I take the motion? I take a motion to accept these donations. Is there a motion?
So made.
By Director Johnson.
Second.
Second by Director Olsted, and then we will do a roll call vote. I'll start with you, Director Atkinson.
With gratitude for these community partnerships, aye.
Thank you. Director Johnson?
Aye.
Director Mason?
Aye.
Director Olsted?
Aye.
Director France?
Aye.
Director Smith?
Aye.
And aye, and that passes 7-0. Thank you. Next up. Is this right? Personnel items?
There's no.
Okay, next up is new business. The 26-27 preliminary budget, which is report only. Director Ryder. There we go.
Thank you. Good evening. This is our similar presentation that you have seen in the past board meeting, but we have updated it for some modifications that we wanted to bring to your attention tonight. And Director Cawthorn may also be commenting as we go through. As we take a look at this, all of our modifications for this meeting have been identified in blue so that they would be a little bit more highlighted. Our overview, nothing has changed here, nor has anything changed with regard to the board approved budget priorities or the historical information. Our buckets remain the same. However, as we move to the bucket for the elementary, talking about what it is we have here, we noted that we modified the amount of the contingency there to be $288,847. The reason is the EL teacher had not been necessarily accounted for previously, as it was considered somewhat of a wash, but we have not yet had the title grant approved, so we felt we shouldn't do that, so we removed that from the dollar amount, leaving a greater amount of contingency. Our FTE amounts in total were modified to 21.875. And as we move to the next slide, we have our middle school. We are modifying our proposed adjustments to fully restore the immersion pathway for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We are modifying our adjustments for the band lessons from a 1.0 FTE, modifying it to only a 0.5 FTE. This does utilize some of the amount of dollars that we had as contingency. And when I say contingency, I just want to remind people what that means is there was a dollar amount for every one of these quote-unquote buckets, right? And as adjustments, or as I should say, as items came forward and they were actually costed based upon a process that's used, if it were over or under, then if there was over the amount that we had planned for, in this case $595,000, then you'd see a contingency. Meaning we're not exactly sure where it was going to be needed, but it was there as we work through this process. And so then we have the total savings here modified from a $595,000 to a $501,483, and we are utilizing the savings contingencies for that difference. The next slide is the high school slide, and here a modification has been made for the choir, modifying that to a 0.5 FTE. Modification to the paraprofessional testing center. This is really more of an issue of the count. FTEs are not exactly a 1.0 in full for the paraprofessionals, nor the campus supervisor, so in total it's a 1.13 FTE. Then we have our savings contingency impacted there used for modifications plus the $12,127. So that is completely utilized. And at the bottom, we have modified our $765,000 down to $752,873 using that contingency, and modifying the FTEs to 9.18 FTE in total. The next slide is the athletics and activities. We previously did not have necessarily a full list. Since then, though, we have determined that there are some other amounts that are being added to this for the middle school shuttle, the helmet reconditioning, the strength stipends, scrimmages not funded, and the increase to athletic stipends. So those items will bring us to everything up to the 15,000 of scrimmages. That brings us up to over the $100,000 by 14,096, and that is earmarked right now at this point in time to be able to add some increase to athletic stipends. Director Marshall is still in the process of working through and will be bringing forward any other adjustments as we move forward in our timeline process, but this is where we are today. And our next slide is the District Services Center, district-wide items. We did have a conversation with our transportation team, our bus company, working through in our negotiations process. And one of the things that they wanted to know from us is, can you give us a list of all the kids and exactly what school they're going to be at for elementary school next year? We did that. They went back and determined that of all the routes that we currently have, they anticipate that there will be 2 less routes needed as part of the consolidation. The guess was $100,000 savings previously on this slide. They told us it would be instead $150,000 savings. 40,000 of this is being utilized to support the restoration of the immersion program. So you see 110,000 now listed on the transportation savings. That changed the savings contingency then to 24,570. In total, we have 34,502 listed here. And nothing has changed with regard to compensatory. We still don't know the finals on that, but we're keeping an eye on it. And then our timeline. I'd be happy to go back and touch on any one of these particular slides, should there be any questions or concerns.
Board members, do you have any questions on what Director Ryder has presented? Oh, yeah, I was going to. We're going to try to, everyone gets a chance to have questions. I'm going to go through the table. Director Smith, do you have any questions for Director Ryder? It's okay if you don't. Just want to make sure that everybody has a chance.
No, I don't have any questions, thank you.
Director France?
One of the questions I had, and I know a lot were answered already, but in the athletics and activities, when we're reducing the stipend, could you just remind us if we're making that up by passing the cost through to families who participate, or if we're actually reducing the activity, time, number of meets, et cetera? I see scrimmages, et cetera, which is horrible, but I'm trying to understand how that's going to have that impact.
I'm going to have Jeff speak to the ones that were just determined, as I do know that the ones previously listed, it was more about, a stipend because not as many students were anticipated. But please, Director Marshall.
My apologies, I wasn't able to attend the last meeting. I was at the statewide athletic directors conference at that time. But the only program that we're looking at eliminating completely is the middle school girls swim program, which would include 2 stipends, transportation, officials, that kind of thing. With middle school girls swim program, based on the numbers that we've seen over the last couple of years, as well as the girls swim program numbers, the high school girls swim program numbers, the plan is to be able to absorb the 7th and 8th grade girls as part of that program into the high school program. So ultimately, any 6th grader who may have been a part of the middle school program or was planning to be a part of that, they're the ones that are probably impacted the greatest. When you look at some of the other stipends, again, a lot of that is based off of numbers. It's based off the numbers that we've seen. It's based off some comparisons with some of the other school districts. I think the question was, are they going to go away completely, or are they going to be able to come back? And that's really going to be up to the boosters, So we'll be talking to our booster club, our Laker Athletic Booster Club, to make a determination if they want to be able to put in the money to be able to bring some of those stipends back, if we feel that it's necessary for some of those programs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Marshall.
If you don't mind, can you explain the, on the elementary site consolidation, can you explain the title grant one more time?
Sure. So our recommendation is to reduce the one of the EL teacher positions. The expectation that we have is that we will be writing into our grant for next year, the title grant, the ability to cover the cost of the EL teacher that we would then be reducing at this time. It is not supplanting when you have had to reduce it due to budget restraints. And so the intent is that we try and bring that back in an application with our title grant to restore that position. When I first ran these numbers, the contingency had considered that EL teacher as a zero, when really it is a cost of $98,000. So at this point in time, that does add to the list, modifying that savings contingency, but we do know that when we get through the process of writing the grant for next year, which is not yet ready or submitted, but as it is, then the hope is that will be approved. We'll know that then come fall, and that will be restored as part of our title grant.
When you say next year,
27,
okay, 27, 28.
school year 27.
And then, but are those guaranteed?
No, so this is, at this point in time, it's not being included in our staffing, right?
That reason.
Right, but then as we start with the fall, by then we hope to have that fully approved, because there's a narrative we have to write to the state to have that approved for the Title III grant. And once that's approved, then we are able then to fill that position and have that in play.
Sorry, Chair Boyan, I'm just making sure. I thought I had one more question. I don't. I'm sure I'll think of it too late.
That's okay. We'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Director Mason, do you have any questions or?
Yeah, a few. I think most of them were answered. I guess on the Spanish immersion, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to our community and so many parents and people in our community who voiced concerns via email, et cetera. I hear you. Thank you for sending it in. I appreciate all of the feedback that we got. On the Spanish immersion teacher, so I just want to clarify because there is one on the non-renewal list. How does that work? So that those items are not necessarily position cuts on the non-renewal list, correct? If you can just like
Director Cawthon
clarify
can
some of
speak to
that,
that.
especially for our community.
Yeah, I can address it now, or we can talk about it when we get to the non-renewal, or it doesn't matter to me, but, yeah, those, I don't know, they're not necessarily like, the teacher who was at the immersion program at the middle school was removed from the non-renewal list due to us reinstating the immersion pathway. And then the other immersion teachers you are probably seeing on that non-renewal list are tied to licensure reasons that we are required to then non-renew them based on the tier level of license that they hold. So once again, as when we talk about the non-renewals, I'll get into that sometimes, you know, those teachers are brought back. It's just that they have to go through the process of reapplying for that licensure.
Okay, so we're stating for our community, those courses will be available as they are today, next year at the middle school. Okay.
That is correct.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think when we get to other pieces, just maybe the deck doesn't fully align to the resolution and other things, so it's a little bit, I think, confusing, but, you know, I think just generally my feedback on this still and what will guide my votes tonight really is just, you know, outside of some of the reductions with redundancy and the building closure, you know, some of these I just don't recommend and they don't align with our strategic plan, our board priorities, and our community's clear direction to keep the cuts far away from the classroom. What you see on here is largely teachers. I recognize we're running a really lean district and we're facing revenue constraints, but you know, over the past number of months, I feel like there's been many alternatives suggested and you know, really don't feel like they've been incorporated. I continue to support a more comprehensive, like organizational-wide review and what we would refer to as like a spans and layers approach and reviewing in a longer-term plan, as we'll see with our enrollment here. But, you know, it's just, I look at this still and I feel like we've gone straight to the classroom. We've brought forward ideas such as reducing some of the student support staff and administrative roles that were one-time COVID funding 2 years ago, returning special assignment roles back from DSE back to the classroom, consolidating and finding efficiencies in roles, utilizing lower cost space for DSE staff, deferring some of the non-essential meeting space and remodeling that we've talked about. There's many options that have been laid out, and so I think that will guide my votes tonight. I just wanted to say that, and a little disappointing how much impact we've gotten straight directly to the classrooms.
Director Johnson?
Yes. Director Marshall, if I can just ask a clarifying question for you. As far as the girls swim for middle school, that's the way the middle school boys do it. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is that the way the middle school boys team?
Yep, so we don't have a
does it?
middle school boys program. We have a
Right.
7th through 12th grade high
Yep.
school boys program. So the girls would mirror what the boys have then.
Cool. I just wanted to clarify that. I know you and I discussed it. I just wanted to
Yep.
make sure.
And the
it's-
boys are in the winter and the girls are in the fall.
Yep, perfect.
So-
That is, I know you give a lot of credit to everyone else, but I want to say thanks for all the work that you and your team, I know. You're not one to just take it gracefully, but thanks for all the work that you do.
I don't do much
Appreciate it.
gracefully, but thank you, Director Johnson.
Thanks. And then, maybe Dr. Thomas or, I know Dr. Bezek might be here. Do you know the trades pathways that are looking, the trades pathways?
So as Dr. Bezek comes up to address that, I know that the high school is still in the process now of building out the schedule for the year based upon the final registrations.
Correct.
And they'll work through some of those individual courses, the music, trades, et cetera. So Dr. Bezek, if you can speak to a little bit of
I
what
know we
you,
kind of discussed that. I'm fully aware of the MinCaps, the education one, just looking more at the trades pathways.
Yeah, the trades pathway has a decent number. We have 2 FTE dedicated, and I think we're right around 50 students, maybe a little under, but we're still finalizing that, but
Right.
we've got that in a good place now. We
Okay.
trimmed it a little bit to make it more efficient, but I think it's
Cool.
sustainable now.
Very well. Yeah, this just says MinCaps, education elimination and reduction in trades savings. So I didn't know if that was one specific thing or you were just trimming around the edges.
No,
to
we
kind of-
trimmed the trades pathway. We did eliminate the education
Got
pathway.
it. All right, I appreciate the clarification. Thank you. That's all I have
Anything
for
else?
now. No.
Director Axon?
Thanks, Dr. Bezek.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple comments, and I'll have some more to share later on, but I think one of the things that I'm challenged with is when we go through and we add up all the FTE that are represented in the cuts tonight, yes, the majority are classrooms. And I think our board budget priorities that we developed back in November, in my belief and in my heart, and I don't believe a lot of this aligns with those board budget priorities. As we go through this tonight, the thing that I'm also challenged with is as we go through the resolutions, the positions don't necessarily align. And so I'm sitting here trying to understand is, if we're making 6.5 FTE of support positions at DSE, where are they? They're not listed on here. So I wanna trust, but I don't understand the process, so maybe you can share with the board.
Yeah.
If we're not, when we talked about consolidating Westwood, as a board, we were advised that there would be $1.9 to $2.6 million worth of savings. We see several of those positions in here tonight, but several of them we don't see. And so if we were to make a $2.6 million reduction, that should have made these overall reductions much less painful than what we're doing here tonight. Because we would have only had to make 1.4 million worth of reductions to get to that 4 million. So I'm just trying to understand where are the rest of those reductions represented?
They are represented here. You do have on the elementary slide, the principal, the dean, the administrative assistants, the building subs, the media support paraprofessional, and the EL teacher positions that are coming from the Westwood. You will not see necessarily the same people or those positions necessarily listed because, for example, someone may have already resigned at an earlier meeting, for example, right? So they may not be on one of the lists that you're going to see tonight. Or someone may have actually been in a position, say as a dean, and they are now, and I don't know that this is the case, I'm just using it as an example, but they may be somewhere else in our open positions that are remaining, right? So in the process of all of this, you have to kind of think of this almost in layers, right? We're gonna start with the positions. What positions do we have in the district? How many sections do we have? How many FTEs do we have with regard to the various different levels, licensures, all that? Once the decisions regarding the positions are determined, then we have to work with the people. And, we basically pass that to HR, and then they go through the process of, okay, what openings do we know we have? As a result of some of the non-renews, for example, then that gets filled in with other folks. Licensures are taken into consideration, seniorities are taken into considerations. In this case, the custodians, you see them listed on the district-wide tab, but you're not seeing the names listed because that's in the process of still being determined. A couple of those people, 2 of the positions are coming from Westwood, a half a position coming from this building being closed. And who exactly those will be determined as we end the year, because we know that there are possibly resignations or retirements that are coming. We just know that the total number of FTEs that are gonna land in our budget as we do the line item budget will be that many less. Does that make sense? So you will not necessarily see a one-to-one when it comes to these lists of FTEs and the names that you see on the other lists that are available tonight for you. If they are certified instructors, they've gone through their own process with a licensure piece. If they are not, we don't have the requirement that you normally do for a certified instructor of providing a certain number of weeks or days of notice, right? And so therefore, you will still possibly see them on upcoming lists as people resign or retire. So there's, this is not done by any means. We just know that this is where we are at this point in time, and we will move forward with that. With regard to the certified staff, though, it was every effort made to get through them as well as many groups as we could. But I can tell you that there are certain areas that, we don't know who those 2 final will be for the custodial until we kind of have everything shake out at the end of the year. Does that help
Yeah, I
kind
just
of
think it would
explain
be
that?
helpful as we go through each of the, because I understand we're going to vote on these resolutions individually. It'd be helpful to know if they were due to the Westwood consolidation or not, for me personally.
Okay.
And then the one that I'm really confused about is the choir, because I'm having a hard time tying back to which position that we're voting on tonight impacts the high school choir reduction.
Okay.
Well, Director Atkinson, I think that's operational. So, I mean, we're not doing that one-to-one. That's a operational decision. We're making the decisions as the agenda states, not which one and how. That's not how the board members vote.
So which position are we voting on tonight that will impact the high school choir position?
We're providing you a report on what we plan to include in the line item budget as we move forward. You'll be taking action on our final budget in June. So to get to that point, there's quite a bit of work that needs to get done. So first, we work through the positions like this. HR does their work with regard to the individual people. And then as we carry forward, we just completed the retro pay for the teachers, which is the basis then for next year's costs for teachers. And so we are going to be working probably the last 2 weeks in April on pulling together what that true cost is compared to the estimates and the assumptions I made in that 5-year projection. And so that's where we're going to want to kind of see how close was I on that projection compared to where we come in now with these remaining positions. So we'll be removing from our line item calculation the positions that we've identified here for you on these slides, and they won't be included on the line item calculations that we do as we roll everything up together to give you the grand sum totals of revenues and expenditures for the FY27 budget, which is what you will take action on in June.
I understand. I'm just trying, as a board member, we're making a major change to our choir program. I'm trying to understand where am I voting tonight where I can show my opposition to that request to make that change.
Okay. This does not require any action at this point in time, so I will defer that to the other items as we go through.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on this slide?
No, I think we're good with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other board members? We're going to move on to the next agenda item, which is approval of resolution. Resolution reducing and discontinuing programs and positions. Board action via roll call is requested. Director, yes.
Point of order.
Please.
Do we need to go through the enrollment items, 14A1
Oh.
and 2?
Absolutely, that is, thank you. Thank you, Director Mason.
Okay,
Director
so
Ryder.
in the board packet, you do have the kindergarten enrollments. This is something we're updating every meeting for every month. And so as we take a look at this, we have added to this since March 13th. We have added March 20th, March 27th, and April 7th. And our kindergarten enrollments are creeping up a little bit, but when you consider where we are typically at in the past 5 years, the average as of April 7th would be that we'd be at 91%, which would mean using the numbers we currently have enrolled, that would put us at 480 students. So that's a little bit less than what we were talking about a month ago. This is a difficult one because when you're talking kindergarten, families have the choice to enroll when they choose to. So we will know for sure, and it's not uncommon that you see quite a few enrollments that do come in throughout the summer months as well as into August, sometimes even that first week in September. So we will kind of keep track of this. Everything I see looks like we just keep reporting this out to you on a regular basis so that you can see on a weekly basis how that's changing and shifting. You'll notice we still have open enrolled listed at 96 compared to like a year ago where there were only 4. So our process this year is that we decided not to change that 96 number until all of the placements, which now parents have been notified, we're waiting for them to respond about their acceptance of that placement. Once those placements have all been responded to by parents, then you will see us remove them from the open enrolled and they will show up as the enrolled. So at this point in time, the only reason why that looks so high right now is simply we're just waiting on those those acceptance of the placements from our open enrolled families, and then we'll see them shift over into the far left column.
Is there a deadline on the acceptances? Like, was that communicated?
I don't believe there was a deadline.
Or
There
a suggested?
There was a suggested
A
date,
suggested
yes.
deadline?
Yep.
Very good. Do you know when that
I
was?
don't know off the top of my head.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no problem.
I can bring that
No problem.
next meeting. The other enrollment report that you have included then is the student enrollment data. And we're doing this on a monthly basis. And so we have added in, as of April 6th, now this one is our current year. And so we're down about 7 from where we were a month ago. In total, our numbers are fairly stable when it looks at the K through 8 levels. And then you'll see that the decline is mostly happening at the 9 through 12. And so we are going to kind of keep an eye on this. Some of this may be, as I mentioned, this is a head count. This is not necessarily ADMs. And so we'll see how this kind of pans out in the end. If you look back a couple of years, we see a similar pattern. It isn't similar to last year's pattern, but it is similar to a couple years back. And so it's just a matter of us reporting this out to you and making sure that you're aware.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions or anything on the kindergarten enrollment or enrollment slides presented? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to 14B, approval of resolution. Director Cothern.
Good evening. Thanks, Chair Bullion, Directors, Superintendent Thomas. Just want to go over a few things. So tonight, we're bringing forward several staffing items that reflect one of the most challenging parts of our work each year. As we plan for the upcoming school year, we are required to make difficult decisions to align our staffing with enrollment, programming, as well as financial realities. I want to begin by acknowledging that behind every item you see tonight is a person, someone who has contributed to our schools, our students, and our community. And we truly value the work these individuals have given to Prior Lake Savage Area Schools, and we are grateful for their service. I also want to recognize our principals who have spent a great deal of time navigating these decisions with care and professionalism. This is incredibly difficult work at the building level, and they have approached it with empathy and respect for their staff. As Director Ryder has mentioned, this staffing represents probably about 80 to 85% of our staffing for the next school year, but there will be some other staffing changes, and those will be finalized over the next few months as needed. So the first item you're going to see is the resolution that's outlining the positions being reduced or discontinued across the district. These reductions are driven by a combination of declining enrollment, financial limitations, and program adjustments. It's important to note that this list reflects where reductions ultimately land, not necessarily where they initially begin. Due to our contractual obligations, particularly around seniority and licensure, we do not always have the flexibility to simply choose specific roles. Instead, the process determines where those reductions occur. There's also a domino effect in staffing when reductions happen. We first try to look to place existing staff into open positions rather than hiring externally. As a result, one reduction can lead to a series of internal movements, and the final list of impacted positions may look different from where the original need was identified. This approach allows us to retain as many of our current employees as possible. So when you look at the list, for example, numbers 11 through 16 might look a little bit different than the first ones, just simply due those are some different bargaining unit positions, or they find themselves outside of the teaching positions. That is what the resolution, and I will take any questions.
First of all, I'll take I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution
So made.
by Director Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
By Director Johnson. Any discussion or questions for Director Cothern? We'll start with you, Director Atkinson. Do you have any questions or?
I just have a few comments. As I mentioned before, as we begin this budget process in November, I was generally encouraged, actually. We aligned around clear priorities, maintaining or lowering class sizes so every student receives the personalized attention they deserve, and strengthening differentiation and enrichment so all learners are supported at their level. Then we listened. Through town halls, our community told us exactly why they chose PLSAS. They spoke about Spanish immersion, career pathways, and the arts, programs that define who we are as a district. And yet, those very programs are now on the district lists of proposed cuts. That is why this proposal is more than disappointing. In my opinion, it is misaligned. It calls into question whether our stated priorities guided these decisions at all, and whether the voices of our community, thank you to everyone who wrote in for the 1,000 signatures on the petition for the choir teacher, were these voices truly heard and valued by this district? We have also heard the claim that there are no meaningful administrative cuts left to make. But our own financial data on our website tells a different story.
Point of order.
State your point of order.
That information is not in our board packet, and it's not germane to the conversation right now.
Your point is well taken. Director Atkinson, the critique of what's on the chopping block is having to do with our financial state, not the district's choosing. So the point of order is well taken. Director Atkinson, would you like to finish?
I would, and I also like to, reminder to the board of our code of ethics policy, to listen and to the opinions and views of others.
Point of
order. And then
order.
to respect the rights of others and have
I'd like
and
to call the
express their
member to order,
opinions.
please.
If we could just maintain decorum at the table.
Thank you.
Director Atkinson, please conclude any questions or any questions regarding the
Thank you.
item, the
As I was
resolution.
mentioning, it doesn't take anybody, go look at our financial documents that are listed on our website. You can see over the past 10 years, we have had an increase in administrative positions, and that is the
That is a
reality
point of order.
reflected
That
in our
is a
financial
mis-
reports.
That has
And
already
while I
been corrected.
understand over the years, there's
Director
been some
Atkinson.
recoding of
Yeah.
positions. Can I
The,
please,
the point of order was well taken. And
can we please respect the rights of others to have and express opinions?
Not if it's not
When-
I
germane to
am
the
talking
topic.
about facts.
And not when it's opinion that has already been.
Not an opinion.
It has already been discussed several times at the table.
Director Bullion, anyone can go to our website on our financial documents, page 113 to 115, and they can see the data that is listed on our financial annual reports. I am not making up misinformation. I
Director
am stating
Atkinson.
facts.
Director Atkinson.
I will continue. Thank you.
This, the information that you are sharing is not information that is
It is
germane
information
in
that is
our-
driving my
in our-
decisions, though.
It's not in our board packet.
It doesn't have to be. It's on our website. It is what is driving my decision.
This meeting, and our oath as board members
I
is
don't need
to,
you to say.
is to discuss information that is presented to all board members. It is our fiduciary duty to protect the public record, and bringing up pieces of information from the district website or any other place that is not presented in our board packet is out of order.
I respectfully disagree with you, and as an elected official per our Code of Ethics policy, I am striving to uphold my responsibilities and accountability to the taxpayers in my school district, which is why I am not making up this on my own, and I've had many people come up to me and share with me that they are concerned
Director
about
Atkinson, do
the
you have any other
administrative.
comments
Yes, I do,
regarding?
and I have 10 minutes, thank you, to finish.
no.
This is why I believe there's room to optimize administrative roles before continuing to cut from classrooms. This is why I continue to advocate for funding our classrooms first. As we sit here tonight and we have a student who wore a t-shirt saying, "Always put purpose ahead of your feelings," we need to put away our feelings tonight, and we need to ask, what is our purpose here tonight? Our purpose here tonight is to fund classrooms and to fund our students, because when we cut classrooms, it's our students and our teachers who pay the price, and that's a cost I'm not willing to accept. These cuts will have long-term negative impact on our district. The quality of the programs, the choir program we offer students, and the support our students need to be able to reach their full potential. For these reasons, I do not support the district's proposal, and I'd ask them to go back to the drawing board so that these cuts align with our board budget priorities and our strategic plan. Thank you.
Director Johnson. Director Mason.
Yes, I have a couple questions. So number 8, the K-12 DAPE teacher, that was not on our deck, and I had emailed in the question around that too. I guess I'm curious for the reasoning of this position. So I do know that there are students in this district that were not receiving services earlier this year due to staffing shortages. They received a letter, and I'm concerned about, this is a position that our special ed students have IEP rights to have by law. They have to get these services. So I guess I'm concerned cutting that position, reasoning, and how will we ensure those students are receiving the services on IEPs?
Sure, I'd be happy to answer. So the DAPE position is due to a seniority. So, and I'll try to keep this, I guess, as general as I can. So, for example, we have a DAPE teacher that has lower seniority than another current FIED teacher that has a DAPE license and that is capable of teaching DAPE. So in order to create a space for that more seniority teacher that has a DAPE license and will be teaching DAPE, we then had to ULA a current DAPE teacher in order to free up that space. So we will still have the same amount of DAPE staffing that we have this year. It's just that we had to make the space for a more seniority teacher that has rights to a position.
Okay, because there was one on the non-renewal list also. so-
Sorry, yeah, non-renew, not maybe ULA, but
Yeah,
yes,
well,
yes.
there's one on each, actually, so, okay. My other, just kind of comment on the resolution. I believe we're voting on each position separately, but the resolution
No.
No.
As a whole, are we?
We are as a whole.
Okay, so like, I don't understand why, if we're listing all of, it says programs and positions that we're discontinuing, why are we not listing out like Atlas, band, MinCaps, those programs that we cut on the deck, even though there may not be a direct position assigned, right? Like, I feel like in order to be transparent to our community, the resolution should state all the programming that we're cutting, and I don't know if that's
Yeah, I mean,
how it's been
so,
done in the past, but-
for example, like, I think when you emailed in, one of the things that I shared was, that, for example, MinCaps, we are, reducing the education pathway, but the program itself is the MinCaps program. So we're not eliminating MinCaps, the program, we're just eliminating one of the pathways within MinCaps. So that's why you wouldn't see MinCaps listed on there, because we're not eliminating MinCaps. As far as access, I believe the discussion we had at the staffing table was that that provides services to students, and we're still providing those same services, just in a different format. We're not providing it through the Access format, we're just providing it now in a different format within the classroom, if I understand how the principal was describing it, so that's why that one wasn't listed. And then as far as like the band and the choir, once again, those programs aren't being eliminated. We're still having those programs. So that's why, once again, those weren't listed as eliminating those positions.
Sure. I still just feel like it's not super transparent. Again, these are things that our kids register for today that will not be there next year, right, for them to register. So I feel like if we're gonna list everything out on a resolution, we should list them so that it's transparent, my personal opinion. Yeah, and there were, I think, several things kind of missing from this that were on the deck, so that was my concern.
Director Olsted.
Well, does somebody want to talk to that, or have we talked to that?
Yeah, I think
Well,
Director Cawthorn just,
I think Director Cawthorn, I think if I would add anything to, it's the difference between the staffing and the operational is for administration. That, I think distinguishing the desire, I understand the desire to, wanting to have this one-to-one and understanding exactly, but it doesn't work quite like that. And is what I'm stating, if you could state it better.
Yeah,
Dr.
so the
Cawthorn.
resolution in itself is kind of showing where ultimately we have a contractual obligation to give those people a position back if we were to ever reestablish those positions. And so once again, when we start looking at the staffing process, there's ways where we're not necessarily eliminating positions or programs because those people still maintained a job within the district. So what you're seeing in front of you is truly where the people that then are listed then below that would not have employment currently with the district, and we owe them some sort of a job if we were to ever reinstate or get additional FTE back. So that's why in the resolution we can't necessarily list everything, because we wouldn't be bringing those people forward as a reduction because they still have a position within the district. I hope that makes sense.
It does. I understood that. I think it's just, again, from a student community perspective, if I go register my kid for MinCap's education pathway and it's not there, when did that get cut? That transparency, it doesn't relate. And, if that position is out, or let's say, we have more funding, we want to bring back the education pathway in 2 years, does that position open back up, right, for that person that was released? Might have been somewhere else in the district, but I just think, again, it's not super transparent, my feedback.
Thanks for the feedback, appreciate it.
And I think too, like one more comment I would make is that when anything with staffing or programmatic, if a family is wanting to, if they're looking for something, they would go to the building administrator. That's not something that comes to the board table. So that would be my last.
Again, it's a voting thing, right, for me. So we are voting to remove certain programming. So that's where I go, but.
Okay. I understand. Director Olstad.
No questions. Appreciate this. I mean, it's funny. I saw that same T-shirt, and I liked it. I liked that phrase. I think this is heartbreaking. And I think it's okay, you know, to have feelings up here. This is hard. These are our people. These are our people that our kids, you know, have or don't have, and we see in the halls and at games, and it's hard, and it's hard every year. I hate this month. I hate this time of year. I don't think anybody likes it. That's not what I mean. It's heartbreaking, and I think, as you know, Director Cothern says, they're people on this list, this is really hard, I know we're going to be talking about this a little later in the agenda, but I really urge our community to look at how heartbreaking this is, because there's not anybody that's not touched here. Our kids, our educators, custodians, Atlas, this is our reality. And I'm not sitting up here making excuses. It just is. And for better or for worse. I say for worse. And we can advocate till the cows come home, which we do. I mean, Dr. Thomas talked about going to DC to advocate. And this is our reality, and we're not alone. We're not alone. There's other districts who are having the same conversation tonight. I just wanted to, you know, we see you too, and it's hard. It's hard to sit in this chair tonight.
Obi.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, piggyback off that a bit, and you know, tension, you know, and emotions are high right now in the district and all that, and like, you know, I don't even know really where to start because it's just so much. But I want to say, when, you know, before we make all the decisions we do tonight, that we just really think about the community, you know, all the students, all the teachers, you know, there's a lot of names on the list we're looking at. That's a lot of player to coach relations, student to teach relations, and you know, it really means a lot. You know, you have kids coming up to me at school telling me to like advocate for all the things going on, like Director Olstad said, you know, a bunch of people are being affected by this. You know, no one's going untouched, and so I just think it's important that, you know, at the end of the day, we all remember that we're all, you know, Prior Lake Savage area schools. We're all a team here. You know, like I said earlier, emotions can get high, but it's important that we all stay on track, stay on board, and I believe we can all make the best decision for the district moving forward.
Obi. Director France.
Well, thank you. That, like has been said, you know, we are not like a lot of other districts. We are second to last or last in funding. I want to make that clear. And when you don't have money, you have to make some really, really hard decisions. The board makes, you know, the board agrees that we need to cut so many millions of dollars. And we leave it operationally to the administration to figure out what we can cut when we really don't have anything to cut. I think that's the important thing, is that we don't, no matter what you cut ever, you are going to hurt a student's outcome in some way or another, you are going to put more pressure on a teacher when you cut support staff to them. They're already under subsistence level. And yet, they are the heroes because they have been, and everyone in this district has been making up each year, and I've been through these cuts now since 2020. This is by far the largest. With the miraculous creative financing of our of Director Ryder and everyone sitting over at that table for administration, we're really just kicking the can down the road. We're not solving our core issue, which is funding our programs, not just to be barely solvent, but actually to be growing and expanding. Education gives students choices, and everyone that's, no matter what their role is, student-facing. We heard from the deans, they are student-facing. And I highly encourage people, if you do see all of our financial reports, realize that there's a way to manipulate how you interpret them. But if you really want to know how to interpret them and which ones actually indicate headcount, then please talk to administration, talk to your principals, talk to the finance director, because a lot of the things that are going on and being said are not true. And they've been debunked, I counted 8 times. So we don't have any fluff. We haven't had fluff for a long time. We're cutting nice to haves, which actually contribute to the holistic educational experience of every student. You know, students come to school sometimes just for choir, just for band, just for that. That's what keeps them going. And statistically and scientifically, those actually help improve math scores. Foreign language helps every part of the brain. So this isn't, none of this here is good. None of it. It affects everything. And by the way, it affects our whole community because it reduces the ability for academic excellence in our schools, which then has a trickle-down effect for those of us who may be trying to sell a multifamily home. And a family doesn't want to move here because we are the lowest or near the lowest funded in our entire area, which is not something to brag about. We used to brag about how lean we could be. Well, we're beyond lean now. We're anorexic and dying, and we need to come together as a community to turn this around. We need to start speaking with integrity. We need to start speaking and caring about everything that affects, because everything is recursive. One of the questions that I have, and one of the things that concerns me, well, not just one, I'm concerned about all of it, by the way. But I am specifically concerned about the cut to paraprofessional service and support. As we grow the need, as more students have IEPs and 504 plans, as we are seeing that number increase proportionally regardless of the enrollment, as we see what Dr. Thomas is advocating for, and I think a lot of us are advocating for it at the state and federal levels. And the talk from the federal will just push it back down to the state, and state saying we can't do it. We're circling the drain on that one. We're actually going down the drain on support for some of our most vulnerable students, which then, of course, has an impact on a teacher's capability to support any classroom. So I just don't know if there's been a long-term plan on this one, at least because we're going to come out of statutory compliance, and a lot of school districts are, if those funds continue to get cut from a state funding perspective and a federal funding perspective. And I don't know if there's a plan, if there's anything that other than you're advocating. How much of a topic of conversation is this right now, and do we have choices?
Well, yeah, and I spoke to this a little bit. Some of the choices are just shifting from one pot to another, but that other pot that they're talking about shifting from is the preventative kind of tier two pot.
Right, I heard
So,
that.
so essentially, you can solve one problem, but you're gonna lift up another problem. And I would say that reductions, for example, in this case, ADSIS would actually create a broader issue because not just students that would receive special ed support at one point would be impacted. Every student who might be in tier two would be impacted, whether and so it impacts your whole general ed and your special ed population in terms of enrollment for Sport for Kids. So no, and I think that's the challenge of kind of, it's a fallacy that why would we have this commission to task them to do something that structurally doesn't solve a problem, it probably creates more, so.
The short-term solution with the long-term falling off a cliff, it sounds like.
Correct.
So I think that's the one place where a lot of other school districts seem to be in the same boat. But thank you for the hard work. And thank you to all those educators who have already, like I said, been operating under subsistence level, and we're going to be asking even more. And it's not fair, and it's not right. And I hope this community can come together and become educated about the issues and not listen to rumor, innuendo, and some sort of social media splash. So thank you.
Director Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bullion. So just to circle back a little bit, Director Cawthorn, because it was mentioned that the DAPE position was listed on both the unrequested leave of absence list and the non-renewal list. And I just want to talk out loud and have you follow along and correct me if this is wrong, but the reason that is because of the seniority. So it's listed on the non-renewal, I'm guessing, because that's a probationary role and that's less senior. And then it's listed on the other role because exactly why, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Sure. So on the non-renew list, the one that would be on the non-renew list, so we have currently a DAPE teacher who is on a leave of absence. So the teacher on the non-renew list is covering for that teacher that's on that is on the leave of absence. So they do not grant tenure or anything like that. So that's the reason for that's the non-renew. The ULA is once again because we are making a reduction from 10 Phi-Ed teachers down to 6. So we have to reduce 4 Phi-Ed teachers, okay? One of those teachers holds a DAPE license that has more seniority than one of our current DAPE teachers. So then that teacher who holds more seniority is entitled to a position, and since they are eligible to teach DAPE, then that is then the position that they will move into. So then our current DAPE teacher, then who still has a right to a position if we were to ever obtain another DAPE position, would have rights back to that position. But right now, we are freeing up that DAPE position to make room for a more senior teacher who has the ability to teach DAPE.
Gotcha. Thank you. And I think that brings me kind of to the whole point. We say that we want transparency for community, and I agree. I think we need to be very clear up here with what we are doing and what we are saying and what we are advocating for. But I would caution us to remember that words matter. And saying that we are not being transparent with this list, I think is incorrect. This, as Director Cawthorn clearly just laid out, is complicated. There are so many moving pieces behind the scenes here, whether it be a person on a leave of absence, whether it be tenure, whether it be contracts, bargaining units, people leaving jobs, and then refilling it with somebody already in the district, which is a very smart thing in optimizing resources, I might add. Thank you for doing that. This is not a lack of transparency. This is complicated stuff. And Dr. Thomas, in an email to all of us earlier today, offered a meeting for any board member that wanted to have and get more clarity and information as it relates to these lists. And I would strongly recommend every one of us take them up on that offer. Sorry to, take your time, but now is not the time up here to understand. Now is not the time up here to try and fix this. Trying to fix it, I'm sorry, is there something funny? Okay. Trying to fix this was 2 years ago. Understanding what we're discussing at the table right now was last week. And if you still have questions, and I certainly do, I am going to take up Dr. Thomas on his offer, and I'm going to try and understand as best as I can what is happening here and what is going on. And while we're at it, can we please stop saying that the district and the administration are not following our board budget priorities? Because that is an opinion, that is not a statement from the board. That's a personal opinion. I firmly believe that when we are talking about these just awful circumstances, that our administrators and our teachers and our staff in our schools would love nothing more than to keep all of this. And as I said last time, we do not get a get out of accountability free card. We helped create this. It is up to us, as it was so poignantly stated many times, it is up to us as a collective to also try and solve this problem, not kick rocks down the road at the administration and say, you fix it. We need to fix it. We need to advocate into our communities to help fix it. And we need to be very clear about what the ramifications are and the consequences are going to be if we refuse to fix it. So I would like to commend Dr. Thomas, you and your team, on listening to our community. Obviously, the Spanish immersion community, the choir community, band community, and so many others that emailed advocating for teachers or for people in this district that have made an impact on them. I wish we could save them all. I'm sure you do as well. But unfortunately, the reality of the situation is we cannot. And I commend you for doing what you can to respond to the feedback. It's not perfect, and of course, nothing ever is, but I do think that you did take to heart what the community was saying, both in public comment and through emails, and I think that you've done your best job to put something forward that takes care of that, and that's all I can ask of you. So thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
Board members, if there are no new points, we should move toward a vote. The motion before the board is the approval of the resolution. This is requested to be a roll call vote, and I will start with you, Director Smith.
Aye.
Director France?
Aye.
Director Olstad?
Aye.
Director Mason? Director Johnson?
Nay.
Director Atkinson?
Nay.
And I am an aye. That passes 4-0.
4-3.
Sorry. 4-3. Thank you for helping me count. Next up for action is letter C, unrequested leaves of absence, ULA. A resolution will be presented proposing placement of unrequested leave of absence. I will take a motion and a second for this
So made.
by Director Johnson and a second by Director France. Director Cawthorn.
Yes, thank you. So the next set of items that you have are the unrequested leave of absences, or sometimes referred to as ULAs, resolution, which are tied directly to the position reductions that we just talked about. For the certified staff that are on that list, these are going to apply to our tenured staff, and this process is governed by state statute and our collective bargaining agreements. And these decisions here are based on either lack of pupils, financial limitations, or discontinuation of the position. These are not discretionary decisions about individuals. These are process-driven and contractually required outcomes. And once again, as you saw in the previous, the number 11 through 16 do look a little bit different just because some of those positions are in different bargaining units and they have different rights or they term them differently, or the positions themselves are not in a contractual group and they are just being eliminated. So open up for any questions.
Board members, questions? We'll start with you, Director Atkinson.
I guess my only question is a point of information. Are we voting on these individually?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Director Johnson?
Just a process, we did last year, by the way. We voted on them individually, so I was just curious.
It is being presented to vote on it as a resolution.
Okay.
One resolution. Director Johnson? No. Director Mason? Director Olsted?
No, thank you.
Obie? Anything? Director France?
No, I don't have any question to ask on the one that's listed in here.
Director Smith?
Nothing for me.
All right, this also is action via roll call vote is requested. I'll start with you, Director Atkinson.
Nay.
Director Johnson?
Nay.
Director Mason?
Nay.
Director Olsted?
Aye.
Director France?
Aye.
Director Smith?
Aye.
And I am an aye, and that passes 4-3. The next item is probationary staff for non-renewal. The non-renewal of probationary staff FTE stems from various factors, including but not limited to long-term substitute contracts, reduction in sections, Tier 1 licensure criteria, or out-of-field permissions requirements. It is recommended that the employment contracts not be renewed for the 26-27 school year. Board action requested. Is this also roll call vote, Martha? Yes, this also is roll call vote. Director Cothern. Oh, can I get a first and a second? A motion and
So
a
made.
second. Director Smith?
Second.
And Director France. Thank you. Director Cothern?
Yes, thank you. So the final staffing item is the list of probationary staff recommended for non-renewal. So this group is different from the ULA group. These are staff members who are still in their probationary period and do not have the same contractual protections as tenured teachers. However, this process is still very much influenced by seniority and contractual requirements. At the core, this list reflects the need to ensure that tenured staff who have contractual rights to positions are able to be placed. When reductions occur, we must accommodate tenured staff first. In doing so, that can result in numerous non-renewals, as you see in front of you. So in addition to seniority, there are several other factors that contribute to non-renewal decisions, including budget reductions, licensure considerations, temporary long-term subcontracts, and in some cases, performance considerations. But it's also important to note that non-renewal does not necessarily mean the end of employment with the district. Some of these individuals may return in the future, but they would need to apply for open positions through our standard hiring process.
Open it up for questions or discussions. Director Atkinson?
None.
Director Johnson? Director Mason?
No, I mean, again, I think I would just maybe point out that it's difficult to know what positions we're eliminating versus staff members. And I think, again, it ties back to programming from this list. So I appreciate the moving parts, but it's just difficult to understand, right, what programs we're cutting versus staff movement.
Director Olstad?
No, thank you.
Director France?
No, this is the same process we've gone through every year, and unfortunately, the list is large, and I do appreciate all the hard work and hope that we do see these teachers again.
Director Smith?
No, thank you.
This will be roll call vote. We'll start with you, Director Atkinson.
Nay.
Director Johnson?
Nay.
Director Mason?
Nay.
Director Olstad?
Aye.
Director France?
Aye.
Director Smith?
Aye.
And I am an aye, so that passes 4-3. Next up on the agenda is the 2026 levy survey update. Dr. Thomas?
Thank you, Chair Bullion and Board Directors. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this opened up here. I'm blowing up. So a couple weeks ago, we had a study session trying to determine with the board, a survey that we could put out to our community to gauge their interests at certain funding levels. And so what you have before you is a survey taking into a lot of your feedback. I think there's one area from a board member around a range, but it just got a lot of scenarios. We just allowed folks to kind of see their own range in funding sources, so we didn't have that specifically laid out, but I think we captured every other aspect that came forward. One of the questions that came up last time was, would an open enrolled family be able to participate in the survey? And again, this goes towards our ability to cast a vote. And so they may express their thoughts and perspectives, but that wouldn't be weighted in terms of the total N factor. It's those who are in our community that actually have the ability to vote for this levy. But they may have perspectives from a programmatic standpoint that we can consider outside of that actual survey, if you will. So that's why we've expanded the demographics, just to ask a couple of those questions. The priorities in funding, just wanting to gauge that there's definite support, unsure, need more information, or definitely not, and then what contributes to your decision for one of those. Considering some of the conversation, the themes that we've talked about, to not lead every aspect, we have an other line, but I think some of the bigger ones that came up through a variety of different engagement sessions recently and over the course of the year are listed here. There were some suggestions from the board members to bifurcate the academic and the behavioral mental health support, so those are now two separate bullets so that it's not lumped in one, because individuals may support one but maybe not the other, and vice versa. And then four, as best we could convey various funding scenarios. These scenarios that we have here are our ability to ask our community, in addition to your current levy payment, what would you be willing to make in terms of an additional investment each month? And so that would obviously vary per household based upon your home value. We did take a look at, we do have it hyperlinked now from Ellers. You can click into this. Another board director said, can we look at these juxtaposed to outside of just the 5 1/4 average? So you can now pull that up. And you see that range that we talked about at the study session. But just to walk through, just verbally with folks reading this, $0 a month would essentially be pay what you're currently paying right now in the levy. $15 a month is on top of what you're paying currently right now for the levy. $32 a month, 46, you can see the pattern. And then we've tried to capture what that would mean in terms of our ability to have resources to maintain our fund balance, and we're calling it district savings and then in parentheses fund balance, because some folks use that term differently, so we want to make sure we're capturing both usages. 8% is the board policy to strive for that, and so we've built that in to each scenario. And then we've shared how long that fund balance at that level would be able to be maintained. Again, making assumptions that nothing else would be changing. There's a lot of factors outside of our control right now, but we wanted to build that in. So you can see then what that would net in terms of additional revenue on top of what we're currently receiving, totaling what that whole revenue cost would be. So we have that listed in each scenario as well. And we went from, we felt the absolute floor to something that's well above that floor so that people can have some conversation about this. We felt that that range is wide enough. And then, like I said, if you click that hyperlink, you can go into a variety of home values from 200,000 up to $1 million for each of the scenarios that we have listed there, minus the 0, because the 0 is what you're currently at. So we didn't mock that in the Ellers report. So I believe that captures everything, and we're asking the board to take action on this so that we would then be able to put this out to our community. We would advertise, post this on our web, put it through the libraries, push it out on social media, Again, any of you that have social networks to take this and send this link out, we will vet and verify everybody to ensure that we are capturing folks who are within our district boundaries. And I will just say, we get very creative entries on that, and if we can't verify, that will not be taken into account. And so if you write your first name being Superman, your last name is Wonder Woman, and nothing else, that it's just not going to be taken into account. So we do want to make sure that we are getting authentic perspectives from folks, so we are asking that you do that, and that's the only reason that we're asking that. We're not sharing that with anyone else. So with that, Chair Bullion, I'll turn it over to the, Director Ryder, did I miss anything? Okay, I'll turn it over to.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Appreciate the gathering of feedback to create this community survey. I'll make a motion to accept this levy survey proposal, if I could get a second.
Second. Open it for discussion.
And then I will open it up for discussion and comments. We'll start with you, Director Smith. Do you have any comments, questions?
Just some questions. Again, a comment at the top, just to, again, thank you for, incorporating, our feedback. There are a couple of things that I suggested that I do see reflected in here, so appreciate you opening that up to us and hearing our feedback to make this survey the best it could possibly be. Can you just remind me, what is our timeline that we're working with this survey? Both kind of like, when will this survey be launched? When will it, kind of what the live will be? And then when will we, what's your process for kind of compiling the results and reporting back to the board?
Yeah, Director Smith, this would be, is Director Mussman still here, Chris? So we'll, if this gets approved tonight, would be going live tomorrow, correct?
Okay.
And we have that set up, ready to go in our Google link, and then we will run that for a week.
Yeah, we'll launch it tomorrow, and the window will be the 14th through the 20th.
Okay.
And we'll send several reminders to our families.
And then I don't have the time, Director Mussman, sorry, the timeline in front of me right now, but I know that Dr. Zumbush and folks will be compiling all this data, and do you recall that target date coming back to report back to the board? Was that the
I think the
27th?
27th is what
Okay, that's
we're
what I
aiming
thought.
for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be, no, April.
April, at the next study
Yeah,
session.
yeah.
Okay,
Already, okay. How's that?
terrific, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Director France.
First of all, I want to echo what was already said, that first, you did a great job collecting our feedback from the study session and leaving this open. And I'm hoping to get, quite a bit of feedback on this, the way it's written. I do believe that the way you wrote the last section 4 is very grounding and direct, and I appreciate that, explaining instead of just asking the rate, actually explaining it. So thank you. I'm going to ask something that I did not bring up, and please don't reach over and slap me upside the head, because one of the things that is, it's happened tonight, it's happened a lot of other times where there are comments or something like that, like, we've increased administration by 37% using a report that was never meant to count administrators, nor does it. And that's been talked about multiple times. But and one of the things that happens when people get this is information that they think they understand about school finance, about what's going on, comes into play with their answers. Again, I say this while I'm kind of half ducking because I understand the impact it may have. Would it be at all conceivable to put a number 5 on here and to say, check a box if you'd like to discuss this, or you have any questions and we can reach out? And I know that means that 1,000 people could check that box, and that could be very, very painful. But maybe a way to gather information on people that maybe we could have another town hall to invite those people to, or do something to try and have a more direct discussion. And again, I limited staff, everyone's booked. I know that is a painful suggestion to do in public on the dais without discussing you independently, but it would be interesting to see who picks up on that.
That wasn't part of our plan. So I think the will of the board was to deliver this survey in what it's capturing, and so that's what I'm holding at this point, just in terms of our timeline of trying to keep the conversation moving with the board and with our community. Certainly, the invitation is always there with our community. Should you have any questions around funding and finance, we stand ready to have conversation. They can simply reach out, to our finance department, reach out to my office. We can get something scheduled. So that's what I would just offer.
Would it be helpful to maybe just put a note, please reach out if you have any questions or anything like that, just to?
I think.
And I know it's implied, but we are, I'm not from Minnesota. I'm very familiar with Minnesota Nice, so that never really reaching out unless somebody does it. And I get the limitations for that.
I guess what I would recommend, if that's the will of the board, is that we would just simply put a hyperlink into the business office, kind of our Funding 101 tab, to at least get them started there so they can go into that space. And if they have additional questions, they're already in the department, they can make a call from there, if that's the will of the board.
I think that, I appreciate the thought and the question. But I would agree with Dr. Thomas and I think for where we are with timeline and all of the other things, we're already in a compressed timeline. And I think, the heart of this survey and the way in which the information was gathered to create it, I think throwing another little wrench in it, while I think your intention behind it is good, I would say, I would say leaving it as is, with the caveat that the website is a myriad of information for people. And we state all the time at the dais, come to the source. So unless there's will of the board, we can discuss that as we go director to director. So do you have anything else, Director France?
No, that was it.
All right, Director Olsted.
Yes, I appreciate including our open enrolled families. I know they can't vote, of course, but I think their feedback is valuable because I would be really interested in, especially kind of the open-ended number 2, and number 3. And I think I would even, if it's number 4, if you could, or something like that, what would you be willing? I don't know, that's probably overthinking it, but I do appreciate including our open enrolled families. I had 2 questions. On, under part 2, number 1, would you support, and they have to check a box. If they choose definitely do not support, does that automatically end it for them, or do they still have to go through the whole thing? I'm guessing they do.
Yeah, the survey itself, they're not gonna get, it won't, end the survey, so to speak.
Okay, yeah, that's my
So
question.
they would still check definitely do not support, and then at that point, whatever they have there is not related because it's not gonna align to a levy option, because they're not supporting it. So
Because
I'm guessing they would not complete it, but they could still hit submit.
Yeah. I would still be, interested in their answer to number 2 or 3 or,
Sure,
whatever.
so they would put that as the rationale.
So none of these are required, except for the demographics part, like people could end it at any time.
Correct.
Are complete surveys, so if like a partial survey is submitted, that still counts, correct? Unless they're Superman.
Well, yeah, if we can't verify that they're a resident, that's our biggest thing.
Yeah,
That,
but like
you
if
know,
they stop after.
Yeah, if they stop at,
question 1 and
I don't
part
want to
2.
support and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fill out the rest.
Yeah.
We know that's why they're not filling out the
Yeah,
rest.
okay, fair. here's this that you can throw at me because of my next question. Is there a world, and I didn't submit this either, so I confess that I did not submit this as a question, but is there a world under number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is there a 6 option that doesn't require cuts or reductions that we could put on there? And I don't know what that dollar figure would be, but is there something on there where there is an option that does not require cuts? And I know that would require, amending that paragraph where it says all options still require some budget cuts. But could it be interesting to know how many people would potentially check that box?
Director Ryder, you can weigh in on this, but what we're planning for is what we're forecasting in our reductions based upon enrollment. And so the only way that would hold true is if our enrollment flattened or started to grow. So we have to remain stewards of adjusting based upon enrollment, irregardless. So that's why that's built into that. We're not gonna, as our enrollment goes on, we're not gonna just keep things where they need to be. We have to take that into account. So that's why they're built into that. Is there anything else? Okay.
Very well said.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, you didn't have to throw anything at me. Okay, yes, thank you. Those are my questions. Appreciate it. Thank you for this.
Dr. Mason?
Yes, thank you for adjustments that were made. The only other thing I was advocating for also was just having an option between the $32 and the $46 a month with some small wins. And the reason I suggest that, again, just going back to the past levy, what was $45, I think, that didn't pass, just something, I think the whole goal of this for me is figure out the range that our community will support, right? So, I don't know, maybe along that line, Director Earl said, like, would it be possible even just to add another box at the bottom to add an other in comments? If we're not doing that, or is that not something?
I'm not quite sure the value that we would gain from an open-ended other around finance with the average community member.
Mainly just trying to get like a dollar value from our community that they're willing to go up to, right? Because from my perspective, that's what's driving the vote, right? So I don't know. And again, I'm not sure what we would get for feedback there, but, or if somebody's willing to pay way more, right? I don't know. Is that valuable information? So that was just sort of an alternative thought process from having that like in between 32 to 46 range, which kind of where we were last time, right? Anyway, that was my only feedback, somehow to see that.
Anything else? Director Johnson?
Why only a week? Why are we setting it a week?
We were trying to keep timing of back mapping from when we would bring a potential question to the board, as well as Ellers coming in to develop some scenarios in a more granular way by the time we have to, publish a question. So that's what we're trying to kind of stay on time track with. If there's an ability to extend, we went back and forth on, more than a week if we possibly could, but based on the conversation that the board had several weeks ago also, I think there was a lot of comments made that there were comments made of why do we need the survey? I think we know the issues that are really important, and so not everybody was even in favor of doing another pulse check, if you will. So I think this is a good compromise. If there's any flexibility, that's something that we could certainly entertain. And I'd want to make sure I go back with our administrative team to see what would that do to our inline, as well as we've got some things already scheduled right now juxtaposed to this date with some, like Ellers, for example, and see the availability to perhaps adjust. But that's something I can certainly communicate to the board. And then if we see that we are getting like super low participation, perhaps that's a conversation then that we would say, okay, let's find a way, we're gonna, extend it if we can. But again, we were talking about, can we get multiple data points, to make some informed decisions? And I anticipate we're going to get quite a bit of a response. I think
That'd be my only concern.
Sure, yeah. So we'll monitor that, and if I feel the need to bring,
Excellent.
you know, email the board to say we may look to extend, I could certainly bring that forward to you.
Second, I know that you, maybe not you, one of your staff, normally throw this in something and deduce all the information, give us big bullet points, and I appreciate that. Can we also get
Yeah, the
underlying
disaggregated, yeah.
data as well?
We'll have the disaggregated data that if you're wanting to see like the nuance, similar to what we just did with the town hall.
Yeah,
You would
that'd
have
be great.
that.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Director Atkinson.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. A lot of the feedback that I provided was incorporated in here. I think the one thing that I'm still having a hard time understanding is that, so is this a revoke and replace scenario, or?
Go ahead.
For all of the items that are $15 through the $67 per month would require a revoke and replace, yes.
Okay.
Revoke and replace.
Anything from the $15 through the $67 would absolutely require a revoke and replace. And if you are looking to include the additional, or the inflationary, the 0 would also require a revoke and replace. Or we wait until it ends and then it gets renewed with that. But it would require a voter approval. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because of
Okay.
the inflationary
The
factor. it'd be
inflationary
revoke
factor
and
requires
replace.
voter approval, absolutely. And then in those cases, it'd be a revoke and replace.
Okay, I think the part that's just a little confusing for me is when you go to the chart.
Yep.
And it says the 364 is 3 million. It really is not, because you're not including what we're currently paying. And I understand we did a great job of explaining that in the language.
Yep.
But I think people are just so like, you know, click, look, okay, that dollar amount, you know what I mean? So hopefully people will read that and understand that, because I think you did a great job of explaining it.
On question 4.
On question
Yep.
4, right,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
But like I said, I think when you click through, it's a little bit more confusing because it doesn't say change in the current per pupil authority of 624 plus 364, 762, because it's the 620, or 624 through 634, whatever it is, plus inflation, plus the dollar amounts listed.
So you will find that once we know where we're landing as far as what is proposed for the ballot question, all of this will then turn into exactly what you just described, where everything is in whole.
Yeah.
And the language is written such that they would expect to see in the ballot box. Until then, though, it's a matter of trying to help people understand, well, what more is this to me, is the approach we've taken.
Right, thank you. And I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, go ahead, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, in addition to that, we would have parcel ID specific lookup as well.
Yes.
Based upon our conversation we're having in our one-on-one, you can just plop in your address and you know specifically what your more will be in total.
Yeah, thank you. And I think, you know, the district's done a great job with all the information on their website. So if anyone wants to go look up financial reports or whatever, I think as a board, we need to stop this he said, she said misinformation that continues to be rattled off at the board table. Because just like we heard from our speakers tonight, we need to come together to agree on something that, as a board, we know that we feel confident that our community will support, so that we're not in this situation as we are today. And so it continues to hurt my heart that we hear board members making disparaging remarks about even our community members. And we just have to recognize the reality of our situation and make the best decisions based on what we hear from our community, because we are here to represent our community. And if we're hearing from our community that we have high administrative costs, that's a reality that we need to listen to. So, and there's going to be different opinions on that. I fully respect that. But continuing to have this division against that talking point is not doing our district or our community any good. So thank you.
All right, we have a first and a second, a motion on the table for approving the levy survey as stated. And do we want a roll call vote for this, Martha?
No.
No. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That passes 7-0. Next up on the agenda is policy, and we have no policies at this time. And so we will move on to administrative reports.
I will just quickly say that, yeah,
Will you take it, Director Cothern? I almost gave you a doctor.
I will just say it, maybe my fellow policy committee members are going to say it in theirs, but yes, we did have a very great policy meeting in April, and so you will all have a ton to first read coming up shortly, so thank you.
Can't wait. Any other reports? All right, then we will move to board reports, and we'll start out with our student rep, Obi.
First, I just want to start off with thanking the community, all the parents, students, teachers for, giving all the input they did during this budget crisis. We really appreciate all the advocating the community has done for themselves, and, it's our job as a board to do our best to serve the community and listen. And so I just want to thank everyone that has done their best to advocate for what they believe is right. As for academics, we have fourth quarter starting. We're in that final stretch of the school year. We have juniors taking the ACT tomorrow, so best of luck to all of them. And AP testing's coming up early in May, so students are just grinding with that, trying to do as much AP prep as possible to try and get some high scores and some college credit. And then like Dr. Thomas said earlier in the meeting, open house for kindergartners next year is coming up, and we'll be welcoming the class of 2039. As for athletics, our boys and girls track teams had meets at the high school this past week. Our baseball team has started off 2-0, which is awesome, and softball is playing at home Wednesday and Thursday, with Thursday being teacher appreciation. And our boys and girls lacrosse teams also won their home openers, and our boys volleyball team is playing at Austin right now, so best of luck to them as well. Our choir program has their Celebrate concert coming up early in May. It's a very well choreographed concert with very beautiful music. And so I believe tickets are out now already, so, go and get your tickets for that. And Student Council and National Honor Society had a few representatives go to the Minnesota Association of Student Leaders Conference, in which they gained amazing insight on how to lead our school and better our district. We are grateful to have 2 Lakers serve on the executive board for the Minnesota Student Leaders next year, and so congratulations to Justin Borg and Sarah Youssef on that. And then as for Student Council, we're closing out our year with our spring events. We have a pickleball tournament coming up, our senior sunset, and our surf and turf event. And so I invite all of you guys to come to our events. Graphics will be posted on our Instagram at PLStudco. And so we're just trying to finish out the year strong and boost up school spirit before it's all said and done. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we'll start. Director Smith, do you have any board reports for us tonight?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Thank you, Chair Bullion. I would also like to just begin by thanking our community and everybody who reached out to me personally or to our board email or spoke at the study session. You are passionate and advocating for the things that you love and that your students and children love, and I think that is wonderful. And it's never said it was going to be easy being up here. We've kind of said that a couple of times, but really do value the input that everybody has shared and allowing me to just hear it and try to make sense of it as best as I can. So thank you to the community for that. Earlier this week and on Wednesday, Chair Bullion and I will be again attending the Minnesota School Board Association Building a High Performance School Board Team. So there's already been one session, and there is another session coming up on Wednesday. We won't get into too many details, but there was a nautical assignment, which was kind of unusual, but did really illustrate exactly how hard it can be to come to consensus sometimes. And I think it was a really fun way to talk about how things are debated and how agreements are formed and made. So looking forward to continuing that on Wednesday. I did visit La Ola del Lago for my site visit. Obviously, there's a lot of questions about the move. Continuing with their skip plans, they're doing their second round of community classrooms and thinking about how they can increase the duration of those. There's been a lot of great reception to being able to learn from other individuals, getting kids in larger groups so they're able to talk more and learn from their peers and learn from each other and learn from different instructors and teachers and staff. So it's been a really positive thing for that school, and it's really great to see that in their skip plan. They were talking about, like I said, in their built team, how to increase the duration of that. I think the interesting thing for me, talking to Principal Kaczynski, was, for Spanish immersion, it's not just concepts, it's also language, right? So we're teaching the concepts that everybody is learning in elementary school, but there's also the added element of learning a second language on top of that. So a lot of the instruction it has to be dedicated and intentional, and yes, it has to focus on content, but they also need to be able to focus on those language skills, because the goal of immersion is, of course, both language and concepts. So one of the things that they're thinking about doing are Apple tests, and doing those more frequently, which kind of identify what are some of the gaps that may be linguistically within some of their cohorts, and talking about how they can build those into not only their curriculum, but how they can think about packages for phonics, and how do they talk about math concepts and different things like that, so they can think about how they are instructing folks on not only the concept piece, but the language piece as well. So, and then just as a final note, the wonderful Laker Pride presentation to start the day. You just talked about all of the sports that are starting, and the arts and upcoming shows that are coming. So there's a lot of great stuff happening in the district right now, and it's catch what you can, because it's only here while it's here. So
Good. Dr. France.
Well, first of all, we had our scale meeting, and Credit River provided an update on what's going on in their cities. And then you could see that online, including the presentation. And then each one of the scale committees from Scott County provided an update on what they have accomplished and what's on their plate for this year, for the coming year, as well as what they've already completed. But one thing was perfectly clear from the county perspective, is that the Fed is no longer supporting the states. The states are pushing those costs down to the counties, and the counties are pushing it down to individual homeowners to make up for things that typically were covered more nationally and equally amongst each of the states. Now, there's lots of reasons for that, mostly the deficit, the growing and extreme deficit that we're experiencing, but a lot of it is just change in policies from Congress and budget spending, but realize that the changes they make now will affect us in the next couple of years. So it's not something that we feel right away, but as they said, by October, November, you're definitely going to feel it. And that was the overall theme, other than the actual details from each of the committees. Teaching and learning, we discussed the recommendations for the elementary literacy from the READ Act and the curriculum. We also discussed the high school math. No final decisions have been made. The teachers are still working on that, but they did give an update, provide an update on where they are, and it was very impressive. The process was very impressive, and the way it was delivered was equally as impressive, so thank you very much. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, the high school math is for algebra and geometry only. Calculus and AP courses, they're completely separate from this, because I have been asked that. MinCaps, Shark Tank, that is my favorite time of year. I have been mentoring my Shark Tank students individually as well as in teams. And for the 9th year, so total number of years it's been, no wait. Oh, gosh, 11th year, almost, I think, that it's been in place, that I have been a judge for Shark Tank. 9 years I have been a mentor for the various teams and for individuals. And as usual, that is just, people can show up to that. I hope they do. And when they have the final, it is really inspirational, fun. And some of those students are able to communicate and speak better on a business presentation than many of my colleagues who have been in the industry for 30 years. So kudos to the MinCaps program and everything that they have done. On a personal note, for the 16 years as well as 12 years as a lead and stay wars judge, I was a judge as well as a mentor this year for the Science and Engineering State Fair for 6th through 12th grade. I covered both middle school and high school this time. I encountered 4 families from Prior Lake Savage area district. I'm not quite sure how many of them went to the school, and 2 of them gave me permission, but all 4 of them did not give me permission to mention their kid's name, mostly because I haven't heard back from them. So I'm not going to mention that, but I will say that unlike other schools, we do not have the resources to support an in-school science and engineering fair, which many of those students do, and then take it to regionals and then take it to state. These students that participate who live in our district and our district boundaries do so above and beyond. And to make it to state is not only an honor, but anyone who participates. And if you ever want to feel good about the future generation, go to the State Science and Engineering Fair from 6th through 12th grade. 6th graders still believe zombies are real, and some of their science projects reflect that. But nonetheless, some of the projects were truly inspirational and really give you hope for the future. So hopefully more people will volunteer. And we do have several parents, including myself, in this district that are willing to help mentor students who want to participate. And that's it.
Thank you. Director Olstad.
Thank you. Time is a thief, I'll tell you. Obi, thanks for the punch in the gut when you mentioned the kindergarten class, but it's crunch time. It's the last quarter. So, you know, students and staff alike, thank you for everything in this last quarter of the school year. Going to Glendale next week, I'm very excited for a visit there. Also, the Community Ed Appreciation Night next week, which will be fun. Always love to do that. And then kudos to the speech team for the students that made state and the ones going to NITAC. And then can't wait to see Little Women on Sunday. So that's it.
Director Mason.
Nothing more to add for me, thank you.
Director Johnson.
I won't steal all the thunder on policy. We got through 8 of them, which was a feat that I don't think any of us thought was gonna happen, so it was pretty great. I got to go to JP last week. So, Principal Glenn and I walked around and talked about tons of things. And he gave me a book that I haven't read yet, but I'm gonna throw it out there. He said that it was
Good
awesome,
one.
The Anxious Generation. Director Mason recommended it as well, so I'm going off your word. I'm gonna throw it out for everyone else to recommend. And he's shaking his head like this, so I think if you haven't, I'll go off his recommendation and just say thank you to Principal Glenn and everyone out at JP for welcoming me in. It is awesome to go out and visit our students. They're great. He runs a great school. Everyone's super welcoming, and it's always great to see our teachers and our students in action. Just can't speak highly enough about it, so thank you.
Thank you. Director Atkinson?
No, just nothing to add. We had a great policy meeting and look forward to those coming to the board for further discussion. So, thank you.
And I will wrap up just with saying, I will echo the, thanking the community for the engagement. We do this together, all of it. We need to hear from you, so I really appreciate all the community engagement. I had a community ed advisory council, and I will just say, our last meeting of the year is May 21st. Community ed does such an amazing job supporting our district in so many ways. The people of the community from birth to earth, they say, that they have lots of fun things to learn and do. And we're always looking for people for the Community Ed Advisory Council. So that is May 21st, and we meet from 12 to 1:30. So if anybody has their lunch hour open and looking for something to do. Other than that, I have nothing to add. There are future events. We're looking forward to the spring play, Little Women, which is April 17th, 18th, and 19th. Our next board study session is April 27th here at the DSC at 6 p.m. Celebrate concert at Prior Lake High School is May 1st and 2nd, and tickets are on sale now. And May 4th will be the following board meeting. So with that being said, I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting. And a second by Director Olsted and a second by Director Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.